What's up? I'm Mohawk Matt. You already know my story, but now I want to hear yours.
What's up, everybody? Another day, another episode. We got a nice episode for you tonight, but first, we want to thank you guys for stopping by, cruising down, and checking us out. There's hundreds of podcasts on YouTube. We all know it's overwhelmed with them right now, but you guys chose to stop by and spend some time with us, so for that, we're very grateful. We like to bring some stories from the streets and talk about people that have been down and built themselves back up. And tonight we got a special guest that I'm friends with and somebody that I really respect in our industry. And I'm really excited to introduce you to Tattoo Huero. What's cracking, Huero?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for coming down, bro.
Of course, man. Happy to be here.
So look, I feel like I know you, but I don't really know all of the background with Huero.
Yeah.
You know, like, so we've been friends for a while. So let's get back to the beginning. Tell me about Huero growing up.
Okay. I think I have a pretty classic LA story, but at the same time, completely different from most. I wasn't even born in LA. I was born.
I would have sworn you were born in LA. No,
I was born in Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah, random, right?
Never would have.
Never.
Ever. Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. I moved to LA. My mom was 16 when she had me. Things didn't work out, you know what I mean, with her and my father or whatever. And I had an uncle that lived in Venice. So I think I was probably 6, 7 years old, and my mom decided she was done over there, and we moved with my uncle in Venice. Started staying there for a little bit. My grandmother followed not too long after. But yeah, I mean, people ask me where I'm from LA, but at the same time, you know what I mean, that's the origin, you know what I mean?
Origin,
So LA by way of Cleveland, you know.
But I feel like where you grow up, those like young is where you make your bones. Like for me, no matter where you drop me in St. Louis, Missouri, I'm from the Valley.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
like you're from LA no matter what, because that's where you grew up and learned everything.
My mom still gives me shit about my tattoos and things like that, you know, and I have a giant LA on my back, you know what I mean, a SC on my chest, all this stuff. And every once in a while she'll take jabs and be like, you know, you're from Cleveland, right? You know what I mean? But whatever. But moving to Venice, even at that age, even at like I said, 6 or 7 years old, it was a culture shock for me. You know what I mean? Seeing the things that I saw, I mean, the artwork, the people on the streets. You know, Venice is a really dope community, and especially back then. You know,
I can't imagine the 80s.
It wasn't as gentrified as it is now. You know what I mean? There weren't chihuahuas with sweaters and stuff. It was the real.
I don't know why, but I picture like Suicidal Tendencies meets American History X.
100%. You know, I mean, it was Mexican gang members, black gang members,
punk rockers, you know, surfers, graffiti artists, like all of that, you know, and it was a melting pot as well. You know, you'd have one house with, you know, 10 Crips in the front yard, you know, working out. The next door neighbors, some, you know, white lady painting, you know, and the next door neighbors, you know, 10 cholos, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was a dope community. I lived in an apartment for a little bit with my uncle there, and we didn't stay with him for too long, but it was enough for me to just like, you know what I mean? Even just looking out the window as a kid. Embrace LA.
Yeah. I loved it. And my mom still years later would tell me like, I knew it. You know, I knew it when we first, you know, she'd like, I could see it in your face, you know. I'd see people with tattoos covered in tattoos, you know, I'd be looking out, you know, the graffiti stuff. Where I was at, I was on Rose and Pacific in some apartments.
Yeah, I know exactly where that's
at. And they used to have swing sets on the beach, and you could see, if you walked in front of my apartments and looked down, you could see the swing sets. And, you know, we used to walk down to
So you were like right by the border.
Oh yeah. It was dope. And I mean, I've been back there since then. But yeah, that was my initial like move to LA.
Introduction.
You know what I mean? Yeah, introduction to LA.
And that's a good bit.
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, it was a wrap after that. You know what I mean? But I'm an only child, so I spent a lot of time inside, you know, and then we moved around a lot. Everywhere. I mean, I've lived from Venice to Ventura to Simi Valley to South Central to, you know what I mean, all over the place. You know, I lived in SGV for a little bit. I ended up in, you know, relationships with different people moving around, or my mom, when I was younger, would, you know, date this guy, and he had a place and we'd go stay over there. So yeah, I moved around a lot.
Okay.
I used to see that as, speaking of Venice and the whole born and raised thing, I used to see it as a handicap. like I'm not from right here. You know what I mean? I'm from over there. I just happen to be staying here. Or everybody I know is from right here, born and raised in there. You know what I mean? For me, I used to see it like, damn, I wish I was born and raised right here, or I wish I was 100% from here. Now, later on in life, now I see it as a blessing because I was able to see some shit that, you know, some of my homies in South Central never seen anything outside of there. You know what I mean? I mean, I have people that I grew up with, or, I mean, I was living in Lincoln Heights for a little bit, and some dude passed that I knew that I had just met not too long ago. And right after he passed, we were talking about it, and somebody told me he'd never been to the beach before. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you lived your whole life right here? Like, this dude lived his whole life right here and never been to the beach? Wow. I've now, you know, now looking back at my life, I'm like, man, I'm really glad I got to see over here, and I got to see over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I'm born and raised in the San Fernando Valley, and I've traveled enough to know that it's where I'm from. It's where I grew up. My bones were made there. Yeah. But it's so nice to move around, and like 100%. I said, Santa Clarita, back to the valley now. Yeah. It's just so nice to get around and spread your wings.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
Yeah, and you learn a little bit everywhere you go too.
Of course, of course. Yeah. I feel like, you know, people ask me, what was the big moment in your life that changed your life? You know what I mean? You know, oh, okay, you went to jail, you got, you know, this, you beat this Kate. Was that the big moment? I mean, it had an impact. Having a kid at a young age, did that change you? No. You know what I mean? I feel like I was probably worse. That's you know normal, what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? It's normal. I was so young, I didn't grasp the gravity of that situation. You know what I mean? I still wanted to go outside and play, you know what I mean? But I really feel like traveling is what changed me more than anything else. Seeing things in other places and moving around the world. Like you know, like you said, you can't. Everywhere I go, I return different a little bit. You know what I mean?
You pick up a little bit as you go.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. Okay, so tell me, moving from Venice around LA, give me a little bit of the backstory with the family. You said mom had a different boyfriend or something?
Yeah, I mean, my mom, like I said, my mom was 16 when she had me. She was a nurse, still is a nurse. She worked different jobs. She worked in a emergency room for a little while. She worked like 11 at night till 7 in the morning. So my grandma was born in 1918. You know what I mean? So I was born in 81.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My grandma watches me. My grandma spends time with me. My grandma cares for me. But at the same time, you know, by the time I'm 10, 11, 12, I'm outside. You know what I mean? Like, my mom's working overnight. You can't really tell me nothing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was outside a lot. You know, I'm an only child. So I think I looked for that too. Like, you know, I don't have any brothers. I don't have any sisters. Well, okay, well, you know, what's that kid up the street doing? What's this kid?
Mom's at work looking for, looking for the group on the block.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I mean, same old story. You know what I mean? You look for that. My dad wasn't around. We rented rooms, different places. My mom ended up dating some dude that lived out in Simi Valley. We moved out there for a little bit. My grandma would follow us, you know what I mean? Wherever we moved. So I think she found a spot out there, and I think she was done following us around. She was like, okay, I like it out here. It's nice. It's out there.
Simi Valley's nice. My parents have a restaurant out there. It's nice. You just don't play around out there.
Oh, no.
Don't fuck around out there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So for me, I didn't like it. You know what I mean? It wasn't Venice. It wasn't, you know what I mean? These other communities, you know what I mean? So for me, it was boring. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, you know, every chance I got, I'm back on the bus. You know what I mean? But then we moved around some more, but my grandma just planted herself there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So whenever something wasn't working out over here or whatever, I could go out there and stay. You know what I mean? And that's another thing. I think I felt weird about that too when I was younger. You know what I mean? I'd be in South Central and, you know, catch the valley jokes. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then I'd be out there and catch the, like, oh, you're a little too ghetto for us. Type. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the LA kid out there, and out, you know, and in LA I'm the, you know, like, but it is what it is. I was very fortunate, you know what I mean? Being able to have relationships with people from both and pick up stuff from, you know what I mean? From the West Side to South Central to the Valley to, I mean, it's different groups of people. And
totally different. It's, you know what's crazy? What you just said, from West Side of LA to South Central to the Valley, those are we're all, now mind you, a lot of people don't know, but we're all in LA County.
Yeah, 100%.
Even the Valley.
Yeah.
We don't claim LA, we claim Valley,
Yeah.
but we're all in LA County. And what you just said, there's 3 different significant groups
Bro,
in those 3 areas.
They're different.
We all live
planets.
different, act different, talk different, dress different. It's
everything,
crazy.
everything.
Yeah.
Even when I started tattooing professionally, I was in Boyle Heights, like East LA.
Another area.
And that was a whole nother,
whole new
planet.
That whole East LA Boyle Heights area is completely different. Get down.
Yeah. And like I said, at some point I've realized, like, okay, this is more of a blessing than I, you know what I mean? Me having these groups of people, me having these friends from here and friends from there. And it became more of a blessing than a handicap like I used to think it was. But
so where were you at when you started high school? Had you planted yourself in South Central yet?
No.
Okay.
No. I ended up in South Central because my mom had some struggles with sobriety and things like that with me growing up.
Yeah.
Especially, and me being older now, I realize, you know what I mean?
You start to see things and you're not dumb.
I start to see things.
Yeah, you pick up on it, yeah.
But I also understand now, you know what I mean? Being a grown man now, I look at things, as a child, I was mad, I was bitter, I was hurt, now I look at it like, okay, you know what I mean? She's only 16 years older than I am. She's trying to figure it out, especially doing what she did, nursing and things like that. You're staying up all night. You're trying to figure out, what you can do to stay up all night and be awake. And
it's hard. As someone like myself, who's in recovery, so many people like with what you're saying, to hear from the son, from a mother, like I want to back your mom up, but then again, like, you're my friend. No. You also, like, you can understand. It's nice to hear you say as a man you understand better.
I do
because
understand.
when you look back, like, I could probably just guess, like, she probably was just trying to make the best of her situation and stay up and figure it out. And by proxy and doing these dumb things, you get addictions that
100%
that roll out of control.
100%.
It's hard, bro.
And I think, I've always been aware of my surroundings. You know what I mean? So I was aware of things, maybe not everything at the time, but I can lay it out. You know what I mean? In my head, I could see how it added up. And as an adult, like I said, being younger, I blamed her, and especially with me wanting to be outside. It's like, hey, if you're doing this, you can't tell me shit. You know what I mean?
It's a two-edged sword.
You know what I mean? So, but now I see it a little bit different. Like I said, you're trying to stay up all night, and then you're trying to take what you can take to go to sleep once you get home, and then you're doing that. And then she tried to get into recovery and kind of fight some of those demons. And then she met other people in the program that weren't really living in the program.
I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. You're right. Because that program could also be one of the most dangerous places
100%
for addicts who are struggling.
Yeah, because, you know what I mean? If you're not, and I shouldn't say living it, you know what I mean? But if you're struggling yourself and you have your own addiction and you're trying to get sober, and then you meet someone else that's trying to get sober, and then you guys start hanging out together, chances are when you mess up,
it's a very dangerous place in the beginning,
you know what I mean?
for what you just said. The newcomer syndrome, that newcomers still figuring out hookup and relationships, all that stuff.
100%. And I think that's what happened with her. She went from this substance to that, to drinking, to this, to that, to like heavier stuff. And then that's, I think for me, that's when I really started becoming like detached, you know what I mean? Because for me, it's like, okay, well, not even my mom, you know what I mean, can tell me what to do. So then I just went ham. But
is that around high school? When you started high school?
Oh, way before high school. That was probably junior high.
Junior high?
Yeah, junior high, even a little earlier. Maybe like fifth, sixth.
So by the time you hit junior high, almost high school, you were already like...
Oh, I was already...
involved.
Heavily. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Heavily. Yeah,
all right.
I was already out there. I linked up with some kids that, like their families were, generational.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
well, it's funny, but a lot of those old, like we were saying earlier, a football team, a baseball team. A lot of people don't know that a lot of these organizations in LA from South Central, even the Valley, most of our major gangs started off a car club, a football team, a baseball team.
100%.
You got generations and generations of 100%. Family that are gangs, and it's a real big history we have.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, these people are showing me love. These people, you know what I mean? And like I said, I don't take anything away from my mom with all that. I didn't live that life where I felt like she didn't love me. You know what I mean? That's not how our relationship was. I always felt loved. I had a good childhood. You know what I mean? I just had different struggles. You know what I mean? That's all. My grandma definitely loved me, but at the same time, like I said, she's you know, in her 70s, you know, like I could walk in the house at any time. Hey, grandma, how you doing? You know, and then hit the door too. Like, you know, I could slam the door. She doesn't even know I'm gone. So, but yeah, no, I ended up getting, my mom was in a sober living house and I was living with my grandma and I ended up getting her evicted.
No way.
She had an apartment. We didn't even use the front door. We used to have like a little 3-step ladder. We'd go in and out the window. Like my homies joked about it. We called it grandma's shelter. You know, like we ran amok over there. I don't want to be too incriminating, you know what I mean? But yeah, we did a lot over there. She ended up getting kicked out, and then she went
in Simi Valley.
She went and lived she went and lived in a
where she finally found
exactly. Yeah,
I did the same things to my parents. So
yeah. But I ended up getting her kicked out of there, and then she went and lived in an apartment building where they couldn't have
visitors,
kids. You know what I mean? It was like a senior type. You know, and then I ended up just in South Central every day. You know what I mean? Like I was back.
So you lost your safe haven.
Exactly.
Now you got to stay. Now you're stuck out there.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And I had been back and forth. You know what I mean? Like I said, from the west side to the valley, and then you know from South Central to the valley to the west side, bouncing around. But then I was just stuck. You know what I mean? And I mean, then it was 100 miles an hour after that. You know what I mean? Like,
tattoos, fully involved.
Oh yeah,
out all night on the block.
Yeah, 100%. I loved it though. You know what I mean?
Like, I mean, I did too.
I loved it. Yeah, exactly.
We love it till we don't.
Yeah. No, I loved it though. I mean, like I said, I was around people that I felt like, you know what I mean? I found core groups of people and I felt like, okay, you know what I mean? We're holding each other down. These people love me. I love them. You know what I mean? And I found the family that I didn't have. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether it be from, you know, the people on the west side or whether it be the people in South Central. And, you know, the area in South Central, it's called the Low Bottoms. You know what I mean? Like that area.
That's like almost downtown, but it's not.
Yeah, lightweight. Yeah. From Washington, I want to say like Washington to Slauson, and then from Alameda to the 110 freeway. You know what I mean? And me personally, I lived off of Vernon. And yeah, I mean, when I went out there, I mean, same thing. Like I was embraced by, you know, certain people and it's a fucking war zone out there, bro. It still is. You know what I mean?
What do we say then? If you live through the 90s, boy, you can officially sit back with your AARP club membership.
Seriously.
Relax because the 90s were something I don't think a lot of people at home
really understand
this the not only the dangerousness but the intensity of the 90s.
Yeah, 100%.
You can watch all these clips. It's funny when they replay stuff about the riots and all that stuff, but I'm like, man, I was there. I lived it. That shit was not black and white. Those Koreans on the rooftops, I got to see that. I remember when they blocked off the freeways, so the valley wasn't even allowed to travel the 101s and the 405s.
You guys couldn't come out to LA.
You know what I mean? It got like the 90s was something really serious.
Oh, bro, they had tanks rolling down the street, curfew, all that.
The homies were taking over 18-wheeler trucks to try to drive through. They were ripping people out of 18-wheelers. I remember that. And it was just. I mean, it was something to see, but it was also something to. Now that we're old, to realize, damn, that was serious.
Yeah. Wow.
Gangs are at a level that, like Instagram today, Instagram has no idea what these Instagram gangsters. We're talking. Imagine pulling up and there's 40 homies on the block, matching gear.
Every day.
Every day.
Outside. Yeah.
It's not like there was no Crocs and skinny jeans back
then. No. Yeah, and I mean, no disrespect to anybody else, but in the 90s, it was cut and dry. There was a uniform.
That's the word I was looking for.
You had that uniform on and you came outside and you better be ready for war.
Exactly.
But
so you did that for years, and how did art? Tell me how art entered into were you always into art like stuff, or as a kid, or did art? You find that in the middle of all this?
No, I was always
into it.
Always into art. My grandmother, like I said, I spent a lot of time with her. She didn't have a TV. You know, me growing up, my grandma's 100% Sicilian, Italian.
Okay.
Like her family came over. You know what I mean? She
Ellis Island, all that.
She ended up in Boston, and she just real. You know, I don't want to say. I mean, poor, yes, but frugal at the same time. I don't come from money. She doesn't come from money. You know what I mean? But that wasn't the norm for her. Like, you know, the house and the TV and the, you know what I mean, all that stuff. That wasn't her. She ended up buying a little one at one point where it was like with the antenna so she could listen to the news type thing. But My thing with her, she ended up getting really into her parents were atheists, and she ended up getting really into the church. So diehard Catholic,
Confession, the rosary.
yeah, everything.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Everything. It's funny because I used to have, even as a kid, and I didn't really understand it back then, but I'd have like my Mexican homies come over to the house and they'd be, oh shit, you're Mexican? You know, I'm like, no, what do you mean? And they're like, oh, well, you got all the same calendars and you got all the same pictures in the wall. And I'm like, oh, no, that's my grandma's shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it'd be in Spanish, but I'm like, yeah, she speaks Italian. You know what I mean? So they don't sell them in Italian out here. You know what I mean? So
she gets them.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so she wouldn't let me, I would get gifts or, you know, things like that from my family or different people. If she didn't like it, she'd throw that shit away. You know what I mean? I was allowed to have like Legos and constructive things, and then like comic books, and I'd be able to draw and that type of stuff. So me being an only child, if I can't go outside, I'm here drawing, you know? So I was always into it. And then obviously it transitioned, you know what I mean? Like, I think at one point I wanted to be like a graffiti writer, you know what I mean? When I was, 5th, 6th grade, and saw it like, oh, dope, try to do that, you know, and I wasn't really good at it, you know what I mean? But I didn't have that element around me, you know what I mean? I had the kids around me, the kids that I was close to, the kids that I was hanging out with, like I said, their dad's from a gang, you know what I mean? Their family are from gangs. They're not. So even when I would do the graffiti stuff, they're like, that ain't us. You know what I mean? Like, and from our generation, it's one or the other usually. You know what I mean?
Or from my generation, the one eventually
turns into exactly.
You either join or you become that.
Yes, exactly.
That's what happened with my group.
Yeah. For me, I remember the tag banging era, you know what I mean? And I remember, okay, this tagging crew, this tagging crew, this tagging crew. I remember tagging crews taking over whole hoods, you know what I mean?
I remember big enough tagging crews in LA from the low bottoms to downtown to Pico Union that became their actual established
a whole hood.
Gangs that are still thriving now.
Today. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, but for me, I think, like I said, just the people around me. I mean, I would still do it. I would still draw graffiti. I mean, I had friends from the Valley and that were really good taggers, really good graffiti. So I go out with them every once in a while and try and paint. But it's just like anything else. Whatever you dedicate yourself to, you're going to get better at. I wasn't really dedicated to it. They were. I liked it. You know what I mean? It was a thrill.
A hobby for you. You were just more into the artistic. You were more into drawing it.
Exactly. But then I started getting into, like, okay, their lettering's dope, but I like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And my homie's dad tattooed. I was probably 13 years old watching him tattoo. And so, like I said, looking at the graffiti lettering and then looking at what he's doing, more of that like fancy cholo handwriting shit.
Adding the swirls and the highlights and the bevels and all that.
Yeah, all that. So for me, I would watch that and I'd be like, damn, that's dope. Okay, I don't need to do this graffiti. I want to do this. You know what I mean? And then diving into the whole, hood shit a little bit more than it's, right on walls. And that was a different style than the graffiti stuff.
It's funny because there's always that one homie in the hood that can write really good with
hands.
Hands. You blend that fantastic fucking slightly graffiti but gangsters, kind of like Big Sleeves. The same, like you bring that flavor to the hood. Every hood has a couple homies like that.
Hell yeah. And the cool thing about it now that I look at is some of those guys that were gang banging back then in my generation, some of them are from graffiti crews now. And they get to live that, like life now, and I see it. You know what I mean?
Like, there's something that I'm really like. Me and Chavo talk about this, and I'm super because I'm a graffiti writer myself. And I'm super excited about like. There's those of us that, like you said, that were gang members that were looking for another way out. That were good with styles that now became graffiti artists. And then there was those of us who were graffiti artists like myself who were kind of. We all had a choice, so I have to say we had a choice. However, but we're kind of peer pressured and forced into joining a gang.
You're always a product of your environment.
What I wanted to do. I lost my passion back then because I wanted to stay a tagger. And I kicked myself in the ass because I probably would be better at letters and stuff now rather than just a straight across the board tagger. But like, there's those of us that were forced into it, and then those of us like they're able to, like you said, gang members now can enjoy graffiti because in LA, if you know LA right now, it's kind of like it's kind of like a cushiony, soft zone for graffiti. They're not really tripping.
100%.
Yeah, no, I mean, knock on wood. Don't test me on this. Or something.
But certain areas.
LA is kind of like they're not really tripping. You ain't got a gun, cops aren't really on your bumper.
Downtown, Arts District,
keep it in certain areas.
all that shit. Yeah,
you know
it's crushed right now.
Yeah, it's crushed. So it's a good time for some of us to relive those, like myself, to get back in touch with it.
Yeah.
It's just so amazing.
I was painting in downtown 2 weeks ago with Flocks and Alloy, and like I fucking love that.
Well, the supplies are made, bro. We didn't have none of these supplies.
No, none of that shit.
The supplies in abundance they have right now is fucking insane.
Yep. Yeah. I remember.
So get back to you were kind of fine tuning your skill, and then you saw you're getting close to tattooing. This is the exciting.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was at a homie's house, my homie Junior, his dad tattooed, like I said. I'm young. His dad, older dude from Venice. He's tattooing in the in the kitchen. We're in the living room. I forget, watching fucking Rocky or some shit. You know what I mean? And my homie Junior's like a fucking 80s movie buff. Like, you know what I mean? He watches the same movies over and over and over again.
Kind of like it.
Yeah. I think
they never get old. They never get old.
That's regular, you know what I mean, too. But yeah, we're in the living room watching. His dad's tattooing or getting ready to tattoo, and if the dude that he's tattooing, they're going back and forth talking about their machines. And the dude that he's tattooing apparently did some time, and he's talking about how he tattooed when he was upstate. I'm 13 years old, you know what I mean? And I'm listening to them talking about building machines and this and that. So I kind of drifted over to that conversation as opposed to what I was doing, and started asking questions. I felt very comfortable in that area, you know what I mean, in that environment with them. Yeah, so I'm good. I'm over there, and I'm like, wait a minute, you guys, what do you mean built machines? You know what I mean? They're like, what do you think, they give us tattoo machines in jail? You know what I mean? Like, we build machines.
It's a crazy process,
bro. I went and got a paper towel from the kitchen, brought it over to the kitchen table, got a Sharpie, like, show me. You know what I mean? Okay, well, and they're holding the machine. This is this piece. This is this piece. We do this. We do that. And he's interjecting. He's interjecting. Well, this is how I built mine. I'm drawing the shit. I was tattooing the next day.
No shit. Your brain was that fast that you caught on. It was. You break down a Walkman or a CD player?
I went to Radio Shack. I bought little clips and you know what I mean, a battery to hook that up to. I went to Home Depot. I got a Allen wrench and some hose clamps. You know what I mean? Broke apart a mechanical pencil, broke apart a Walkman with the motor, like all of that, bro. Yeah, I was tattooing, like I said, probably the next day.
Right on.
Yeah, I remember my first tattoo was at a park at the end of my street, and it was on the son of the dude from Venice. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I mean, it was some gang related shit. You know, I remember I had white Cortez on. We had the mesh park bench table. I used like a soda cap and put it in the hole there and filled it up with some ink and was tattooing. I remember it flipped over sideways and ruined my shoes. You know what I mean? Like, but I was tattooing, and I didn't tattoo regularly, but I mean, there'd be situations. You know what I mean? Like, oh, somebody passed away or something, or you know what I mean? Somebody wants some handwriting. Somebody wants, and I just started doing it.
So is that the moment you knew you wanted to be a tattooer?
No. For me, it was just another element of that hood lifestyle shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, it wasn't. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I had fun doing it. You know what I mean? I mean, that's fucking ego crack, bro. You know what I mean? Especially, we're fucking, these are kids. I'm doing it on kids my age, and then you go somewhere and everybody's like, damn, who the fuck did that? You know what I mean? I did one of my homies' arms, big as fuck, so obviously I was gassed on the way,
Made
people
you feel good.
Yeah, people received it, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I mean, doing other shit, you're looking, it's all that, fucking.
It's the whole circle of that life.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's the same feeling you get when, like, oh yeah, that party that
they're putting in work at. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I didn't see it, I damn sure didn't see it as a career because I wasn't getting paid for it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that at all.
Well, you're still living that street life, so you're not looking for a career yet.
No,
you're just,
this
is just some part you pick up you're interested in.
Exactly. You know what I mean? I want something that's going to ring bells in a situation. You know what I mean? Like, and most of the people I'm tattooing, whether they be from my circle of friends or whether, I tattooed, even back then, even as a kid, I was tattooing a bunch of people from different neighborhoods, and people would see this on so-and-so and be like, hey, who did that? Oh, my homie Huero. Like, they'd hit me up, they'd come and bring beer and fucking girls and hang out, and you know, I'd be tattooing all night. But I put together a machine that night. You know what I mean? Like I didn't ride around with a tattoo machine. It wasn't like that. It was just here and there. Yeah, here and there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, sometimes it would be 3 or 4 in a month. Sometimes it'd be 1 every 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even then, it kind of fizzled away. You know what I mean? I had my daughter when I was 18. I was 17 when I found out. 18 when she was born. My daughter was born 3 months early. She was 1 pound, 15 ounces when she was born. They actually rushed us to Northridge, and they made an exception at the Northridge Hospital and took Medi-Cal for my daughter because
That's amazing.
they don't normally do that. And apparently Northridge Hospital has the best NICU, you know what I mean, in the area.
Yeah, Roscoe and Balboa, I know.
Yeah, 100%. And even that was, you know what I mean, same shit. Like I got banged on standing out front of that, you know what I mean? But
yeah, that's right. There's like 3 hoods around there.
yeah, I had a homie that lived up the street, actually, a tagger dude from the valley.
Rosita, Bryant, they're all right.
Yeah. And I used to go to his house afterwards. I used to drive out to the valley, go see my daughter. I had a 92 Honda Accord, no license, no.
What color was it? Because I had one too. I had a green one, like a hunter green one.
I bought it white, and then I smashed it, and then some homies fixed it.
That was such a famous car, 92
Honda.
Honda.
Oh yeah, that was going Mobile 4-door. Yeah,
4-door with the sunroof. With the sunroof.
Hell yeah. So I used to be out there pretty heavily. I had a homie that lived right up the street, so that was a rough point in my life as well. My mom, dealing with her sobriety, she was heavy into substance at that time. And when my daughter was born, my mom wasn't around. Like I couldn't get a hold of her. I forget who let her know, but she ended up showing up to the hospital. And my daughter was born January 5th. And yeah, my mom like was doing drugs, you know what I mean? Heavy, you know what I mean? At that point, my mom was, you know, and it wasn't pills or, you know, drinking or anything like that. My mom showed up, I think, on the 7th, and my daughter had tubes in her, wasn't breathing on her own, wasn't anything. She's been sober since that day.
Your mom?
Yeah.
Fucking A, congratulations, dog.
Yeah.
Wow, right on.
Yeah, so that's another reason too. Like when I look at situations with her back then, when I moved to South Central, there's still the same crackheads on 43rd and Avalon that were there when I fucking moved there.
There's still a bum in my hood in Sun Valley that has been on the same bench for damn near 30 years.
You know what I mean?
The same beer.
I can go right now. I can get off on Vernon off the 110, drive up to Avalon, make a left on 43rd Place, and I can go in that alley, and there's still the same people that were smoking crack fucking 20 years ago.
And crack is back, let me tell you. It's
100%
on the block.
100%.
Yeah.
So for me, watching my mom do that, even whatever animosity I had towards her, whatever, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously I was skeptical at first, but my mom's been sober for 26 years now.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? And so, you know what I mean? I give her that credit as well. You know what I mean? Just like she earned, you know, some of the things when she was messing up, I can't not let her earn the you know, the accolade.
Well, now she gets to be an active, I would assume she got to be an active part in your daughter's life.
1,000%.
That's right.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to take anything away from her and say like she wasn't a good mom, because she was. But like I said, she had her struggles.
Yeah.
But everything she wasn't, she was as a grandmother for
That's
sure.
Right. That's right.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was inspiring, you know what I mean, for me as well. Because like I said, with the animosity came the fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the fuck
like,
it too.
You know what I mean? I'm not worried about disappointing you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You disappoint me.
Yeah.
After that, starting to worry about, you know, like, damn, okay, you know, like, I don't want to disappoint my daughter. And, you know what I mean? And now I'm looking at my mother different. My dad still wasn't around. But yeah, it was a turning point for sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, you know, I mean, I'm sure you've had moments of clarity. I'm sure you've had moments where you were here and then, you know, go back down. And, you know what I mean?
I mean, I was that horrible son, bro. I had the parents who were pretty white middle class in the San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the story that I grew up in the hood. I took my ass to trouble. I got involved in graffiti.
100%.
We took our graffiti crew and got involved in a gang. I don't have that sob story where I grew up in the hood. I had no chance. And then I became addicted to drugs in my 20s, bro. I didn't even try nothing until I was 21 or something like that. And then I went straight to crack. And so I'm the bad son that needed to redeem myself for my parents. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Stole their money, ruined their home.
For me, I don't feel like I had that like sad hood story either. I ended up in South Central. It wasn't because
you guys just bounced around.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I ended up there. You know what I mean? My mom was somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? My mom used to make, my real name's Michael. My mom used to have to call the house and be like, can I speak to Michael? And they'd say no and hang up. And then she'd call back and be like, is Huero there? And they'd be like, yeah, hold on. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
awesome.
fuck, yeah. Like, they didn't even know who fucking Michael was. But I was definitely in certain positions by choice. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to preach this fucking, oh, poor me. You know what I mean? Because I put myself in a lot of situations. I chased that shit. You know what I mean? And like I said, I loved a lot of that, you know?
We get high off of it.
For sure.
Back then, like you said, the recognition, the people,
100%,
people loving what you do, man.
I think with my mom being on drugs or my mom using drugs, my mom having an alcohol problem, my father, I knew he had an alcohol problem. I had been around him. He wasn't completely absent, but he was still out in Ohio. But the times that I was around him, I knew he drank. I was desensitized to that, but at the same time, it turned me off. You know what I mean? I feel like certain people gravitate towards that because their family drinks. I was the opposite. I was like, oh, I'm good. But my shit was violence. You know what I mean?
So you've never had no issue, drugs, and alcohol.
Never.
You're a complete normie.
Yeah.
Right
I mean, I drank, you know what I mean? But I feel like I was done by the time I turned 21.
But you sound like you're the kind of guy, like I got friends who can have a drink or two, smoke a joint, and then they go
100%.
home.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I drink or something. I break out in handcuffs eventually.
100%.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
And then the alcohol would lead me to a needle in my arm, so I can't.
Yep.
I got to avoid everything.
Yeah. No, for me, alcohol intensifies the violence.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, I did all the partying and, you know, and drinking and one of the groups and families that I was around, all big drinkers, you know, the type that, hey, pass around the bottle. And even if you don't want it, hey, you touched it, you better take a shot. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I've woke up in front yards drunk and, you know what I mean? But I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't want to do it the next day. You know, I felt like shit. I didn't like it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. No, I felt like shit. I'm like, man, I'm not doing this again for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm an asshole when I drink too. You know what I mean? Because that same chip on even now to this day, I don't drink that much because I revert back to that same type of behavior. Yeah. If I'm out at a bar with all you guys and we're having a great time, and then depending on what I drink or, you know, then it's, the fuck is this dude looking at? You know what I mean? And I don't need that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to be in control.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And a lot of bad things happen when you're under substances and you're not in complete control. A lot of bad things happen anyways.
Yeah.
But
it's more
when that gun comes out, you know what I mean, and you're inebriated, you're slower to react. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of things happen.
It's funny because for me it was the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I was always the gang member and the tagger that was completely sober, and I remember when I first fell into peer pressure and smoked crack for my first before I tried a cigarette, a beer, a joint, I went straight to crack. And I can remember the moment in this Monte Carlo with my homeboy Chubbs and Silent, and I just remember I knew that was it. And everything I had built in being a solid homeboy, being reliable, being a star in the hood.
Yeah.
Within 1 year, you're just boom, done. I'm not reliable. They don't want me around.
Yeah.
It's funny because it was just like, I wish I would have drank. I kicked myself in the ass for thinking I should have at least fell into peer pressure for a beer. I probably would have been like you, a little bit more aggressive, I could have put more longevity, but the drugs is, man, once they show up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was fortunate, I think. I don't want to say I had like the most solid big homies and, you know what I mean? But there was some, you know, there was definitely some people around me that didn't give a fuck what happened to me, you know what I mean? And fucking go do this, go do that. But there was definitely some people around me too. They're like, hey, fuck you doing? You know what I mean? And I'm very fortunate that I had those people. Like, like, okay, you could be this and you could be this and you could be that without all this. You know what I mean? And and like I said, being able to move around from this neighborhood to that neighborhood to this group to that group, I met some solid people. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm very biased when it comes to different areas too. You know, people tell me, "Oh, I don't like that." It's like, I don't give a fuck what you don't like. I know solid people from here. I know solid people from here. I know solid people from here. You know what I mean? I know solid stand-up dudes from Simi Valley. I know solid stand-up dudes from South Central. I know lames from South Central, and I know lames from, you know what I mean? So for me, it does, like, I was very fortunate to be able to be around some stand-up fucking people. And yeah, I was always the young one out of my group. You know what I mean? Me, my homie Junior, everybody else was always older. And even when being in South Central, the guys I'm with over there, they're 10 years older than me. You know what I mean? I'm 24 or I'm 19. You know what I mean? They're fucking, some of them are pushing 30. You know what I mean? Some of them are, you know what I mean? Yeah, late 20s, early 30s. So one of my real close homies was already a couple years into sobriety, still out there. He was on his girl shit, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, man, I'm trying to meet as many girls as possible. You know what I mean? And he had that like gift of gab that I didn't have. I'm very self-conscious. I'm very, you know what I mean? Yeah, very reserved. You know what I mean? I'm always in the background, like fucking, you know, especially being the white kid in certain areas where, you know, it's like, you know, either you turn it on and chin up, chest out, and fucking be the center of attention, or I'd fall back and try and not cause any attention. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, but I kind of looked up to him a little bit too. Like, damn, okay, he's out here doing this, he's out here doing that. Like, damn, you know, he had that shit. You know what I mean?
He moved like
yeah, and he wasn't drinking and he wasn't doing anything. So, like I said, I was fortunate enough to have certain people, you know what I mean, around me. I didn't even end up, like, the tattooing shit came way later. My daughter, her mom ended up getting married and moving to Texas for a little while without me knowing. I remember my mom called me. I was in South Central. She's like, "Hey, your daughter, they're moving." You know, I think I got a ride to San Fernando. They were out by like Lancaster, like Lake LA area at one point. I didn't even know. I had never even been out there. Yeah.
Courtsville, Lancaster.
Yeah. I had never even been out there. And I had one of my homegirls from over here drive me to San Fernando. I met up with my mom and I got to go see my daughter for a little while before they were gone. And then I didn't see her for a while. And so that, you know, it was up, it was down. You know, that at that time when I wasn't being able to see my daughter at all, I dove head first into, you know, I think I took it out on everybody around me. There was definitely a time when people noticed, like, oh, this was tripping. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be out there, you know, just looking for it.
Sometimes it just takes some slight push or no.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it wasn't even on no hood shit. It was just on some like fuck everybody type shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's why I definitely understand the substance. You know what I mean? For me, going out, getting in shit, you know what I mean? That was my substance. You know what I mean? I just felt better.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking take a baseball bat to somebody and then, you know what I mean? Like, obviously I wrestle with it now, you know what I mean? And I live with those fucking demons, but
they're easier to control now.
Yeah. But still, like, the things that I've done, I wrestle with, you know what I mean? Thinking of, damn, you know, like, I mean, you know what it is. You know,
I have PTSD. My wife will tell you. I got,
you know,
there are nights where I wake up just furious in bed.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we all done shitty shit to people, you know what I mean? That probably didn't deserve it, you know what I mean? Some of them did, some didn't. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, you know what I mean? Like you said, I mean, I feel like all that's part of that era anyways, you know what I mean?
It was our attitude in that era.
Yeah.
You had to have that attitude to survive. And then guys like me and you, two basically white kids living in this culture with them, we had to have a little bit more sauce on the taco than most people.
I feel like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's funny because one of my homies knows, for like, I used to look for the white kid, you know what I mean? Out the group and be like, I got this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I kind of felt like, you don't do it like I do it, you know what I mean? And you make me look bad, you know what I mean?
And it's funny because in my situation, Huero, there's like 5 or 6 of us white kids that all joined with me. So there's like, imagine 6 people
with all something to prove. Yeah. I always had a chip on my shoulder about that, especially, you know what I mean? Whatever area I was in, even when I ended up in East LA over there, I, you know, like what, you guys never seen some, you know, like, you really think you're fucking harder than me?
Yeah.
Because your family was born here? shit don't mean nothing to me. Okay,
They don't realize guys like us, we had to be put in a little.
I just for me, I don't believe you're any tougher than me because of the color of your skin. I could care less. You know what I mean? And I don't hate anybody because of that, but at the same time, I feel like I always got something to prove. You know what I mean? But, but
yeah. So bring me up to tattooing.
So tattooing.
Yeah.
Like I said, when my daughter was gone, she ended up coming back. I took some steps. Her mom came to visit, and I took some steps to like file some paperwork so she wasn't allowed to leave the state. I was very fortunate that her mom hadn't like filed a change of address or anything, so she was still a California resident.
You were able to jump on.
So when I filed for joint custody, they told her she couldn't leave the state, and yeah, it was a whole situation. But I ended up having my daughter close by again, and I was still out there. I was still moving around. You know what I mean? Yeah, I ended up linking up with some people from a bunch of different neighborhoods. We were, you know, networking, doing different things.
Understood, yeah.
I ended up in Montebello at a hotel right off the 5 freeway off fucking Telegraph and like Greenwood or something. There was a gas station on the corner, and then this like Best Star Inn or whatever. We used to move around at all the hotels over there. There was a Ramada that used to be right off of Slauson right there. Yeah. And we were doing things, you know, in the hotel rooms.
Yeah, I know around. The whole, yeah.
Yeah. And I've been to jail a bunch of times, you know what I mean? I mean, whatever, you know, once a year, twice a year, a couple times a year.
Just
you know what I mean?
county runs?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, little things, you know, but I mean, enough to have that experience, you know what I mean? Like, I've been to LA County Jail, I've been to Ventura County Jail.
Well, again, not to harp on this issue, but if you've been to LA County in the 90s, bro, it's a complete.
Yeah.
I mean, my senses, like when I talk about,
I feel like from 90 to like 2005.
If
you know what I mean?
The county jail between 1990 and 2000, I would say 2000.
Yeah.
The cops didn't have their sensitivity training.
No.
They were quick
there
to
was still
whoop your ass.
There were still gang modules. There was still fucking
There was man, boy, like
early 90s. You still had your money on you. You know what I mean?
You had their personal tennis shoes.
They
would get stolen if you weren't about something. I've seen so many homies lose their Converse, their Vans, their Nike Cortez, their Air Force One.
Yeah.
If I close my eyes, Huero, I can still remember how the smell of that damn
pink
dial soap smells from all the heat and the stress in those showers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the noises from the 9500 dorm. All that stuff will overwhelm me if I can immediately transfer back.
Yeah.
That's how intense and serious those moments are.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, being 18 years old in a fucking LA County jail, traumatizing for sure. I was in the hotels. The place next to where I was staying got robbed. Some lady got robbed, and I think she didn't know who did it, so she was like, well, these motherfuckers are always over here at this hotel. They always come in here late at night. It might have been one of them.
Yeah.
They ended up raiding the hotel. They took me. I got busted for an armed robbery that I really didn't do.
Damn.
Yeah.
Back then that was serious.
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of shit and went to jail for it.
Not that shit.
But not that shit. You know what I mean? I was very fortunate. I fought the case in LA County. First court date, like East LA, then they transferred, you know, to downtown, whatever. I fought my case from in custody. And then it was classic LA shit. They lost the tape. You know what I mean?
Didn't read your rights. There's all kinds of mistakes in the case.
The surveillance at
wasn't working.
The
lineup failed. Yeah.
Supposedly they had a tape and then they didn't have a tape. You know what I mean? My judge, I can't say anything negative about. My judge was really cool. Every court date that I had, he'd ask me, do I have anything to say, you know, at the end? And I tell him, look, you know, due to lack of evidence, I need to get my bail reduced so I have a chance to fight this case outside of court. He'd ask the DA, you guys find the tape yet? You know what I mean? You guys find that tape? No? Okay. He'd reduce my bail. I ended up getting my bail reduced a little bit more. I spoke to my mom and told her, hey, look, I really didn't do this. I need to try and get out. She called my dad. Me and my dad had a falling out years prior. I actually went out there to try and get my shit together for a minute and couldn't be around him. I ended up having so much animosity towards that.
Back in Cleveland?
Yeah. I lived out there for a little bit, came back. I got sent out there when I was younger, lived with him. That didn't work. And then I went out there on my own free will at one point, and it still just didn't work. But she asked him for help. I think his attitude was like, fuck him. You know what I mean? Let him learn a lesson.
Yeah.
She explained it to him like, this ain't, my plea bargain was 15 years. That was my first deal that they tried to give me. And then I think the next one was like 9 with 2 strikes or some shit. You know what I mean? I'm
back
like,
then that was a
fuck
railroad.
it. Yeah, bro, come on, homie. If I do 15, I'm never coming home. You know what I mean? I'm being there poking people to just to,
Well, the con you'll gain was
100%. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So I was stressing that to her a little bit, like, hey, some of my homies could try and put some money together or whatever, but but I guess it messed with him. You know what I mean? And she told him he really didn't do this. And I think I'm going off of what she told me, he said, but I've spoken to him about it since then, and he's like, I was like, fuck you. You know what I mean? What do you mean? You think I'm gonna bail you out of jail for armed robbery? And she's like, no, he really didn't do this. And he's like, how the fuck do you know? She's like, well, he's never told me he didn't do something before. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that type. I'm not, if my mom asked, you know what I mean? Like, fuck yeah, we did that shit. You know what I mean? Like, my mom's come to my house and, like, hey, don't pick up that box of cereal because it's heavy. Leave it up there. You know what I mean? Like, I never hid anything from her because I didn't need to. So when I told her I didn't do it, she believed me. You know what I mean? So long story short, he ended up bailing me out. And I didn't know it. I had already been moved. I got moved from, at that time, I think I was in 2,600 in like the fucking 6-man cells or something, if that's what it was, And I got rolled into that unit right as motherfuckers were wrapping fucking newspaper around themselves and and I was like, oh shit, here we go. I ended up getting pulled out of there, and they brought me up to somewhere in the towers, some pod, C-pod, something, whatever. And I was housed there for a little bit, and it was cool because there was a lot of people from upstate that were coming down to fight existing cases. And everybody was chill, you know what I mean? So I was like, cool, I'm at least I'm in an area where,
I can relax.
Yeah, it's not fucking 100 miles an hour. You know what I mean? OCJ, it's always cracking.
Dangerous.
The towers, it was a little more mellow, and I could get my head together a little bit, and then they came and pulled me out, and I was like, oh fuck, here we go, I'm getting moved, and as I'm walking the fucking line back, to OCJ, they told me I got bailed out, and I was like, oh shit, I thought I was, you know what I mean? I thought I was, So I ended up getting out, trying to get a hold of a lawyer, all this stuff. My first court date, while I was out, one of my homeboys got tatted by this dude named Bear from 18 that worked in Boyle Heights at a shop called City of Angels.
The same Bear also that worked out with Trigger over there?
No. Okay. That's that. Yeah, he's from Pacoima. Good dude too. Yeah, I know him well. But my homie Bear, who ended up becoming good friends, I went in to go get tattooed because I figured I'm out on bail. I'm fighting 15. Let me get as much on the streets work as I possibly can. I already had the big LA on my back. I wanted to get it filled in. I already had, some stuff, but I'm young, you know what I mean? I need to get fucking, covered a little bit more and get some quality work before I go upstate. So I'm telling him, me and him hit it off really well. He's a good dude, good sense of humor, you know what I mean? We're in there clowning, bullshitting. I think I brought somebody in with me at one point that I had done something on, and he's, who did that? And like, oh, fucking Huero did, Like, yo, you tattoo? No, not really. You know what I mean? But I write on people from time to time. And he's like, bro, I hate doing handwriting. You know what I mean? I hate doing lettering. He's from one of the biggest gangs in LA. So all of his homies are coming to him. You know what I mean? So he's like, bro, like, why don't you tattoo? Like, what the fuck? You're going upstate. Like, are you going to tattoo when you're up there? Well, I don't know. I mean,
you hadn't probably thought about it that far.
I mean, I did, but at the same time, I had that chip on my shoulder perspective. I'm not going to go up there with a Bible in my hand. I'm not going to go up there with a tattoo machine in my hand and try and hide behind it. You know what I mean? I had that, like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? If I'm going to go up there, maybe I'll get to that point, but I got to get to that point. You know what I mean? I got to, and I'm weird about stuff like that. Like, I don't want a job because somebody referred me. I want a job because you want me to work with you. I want, you know what I mean? And same type of stuff in that career. Like, I don't want, who cares what this dude says I can do? Let you see what I can do. You know what I mean? So he was giving me shit about it. Bear's older than me. And he's like, bro, well, you're not going to tattoo if you go up there? Like, you're not going to go in there with a hustle? Like, what are you, fucking retarded? You know what I mean? Like, so he was in my ear about it a little more. And I'm like, okay, well, let me pay attention then. Let me, you know what I mean? Let me absorb some of it. You know, I would write out stuff for him, and, you know, he'd be like, oh, so-and-so wants this. Cool, I'd write it out, whatever, give him to him. He'd tattoo it. Sometimes he'd give me $20 or, you know what I mean? Something. Yeah, you know what I mean? Things like that. But I did it because I loved it. I just wanted to be there. I'm out on bail. I'm fighting. I got all this stress on my shoulders, and now I'm hanging out in a tattoo shop in Boyle Heights where I get to, you know, fucking be creative. And like I said, we're clowning. Everybody there is from a different neighborhood, so it's all, everybody was older than me, and they all, I think they already pushed past that. So it was, like I said, I wasn't stuck in any backwards thinking, but at the same time, I'm still thinking like a kid from LA.
No, I know. Like a lot of the guys, the older they get, then they, whether they had beef or not, they forget it. They just work together.
100%.
Yeah,
he had fought.
He had all that dumb beef.
Yeah, he'd done his time. He's been in and out of jail too. You know, he's focused on his career and making money and taking care of his kids and all that. So I kind of piggybacked off of that a little bit while I was getting tattooed. And obviously, the more I hang out there, the cheaper my tattoos are getting. You know what I mean? So fucking, I'm letting him tattoo me all this shit. I ended up, my first court date outside of custody, I went to court. I think I had a long sleeve on. One of my homies was there. My mom was there. I used to smoke cigarettes, so I went outside we had a recess. And I ended up running back in there because I was like, oh, it's been a little too long. I went running back in the court. And as I was coming in, they called my case. I ran up to the front and sat down in the first seat. Yeah. And the bailiff told me, stand up. You know, I stood up. The DA turned around. They're talking to me. The lady next to me is, you know, I'm looking at her like, okay, whatever. She stood up and was like, hey, that's not him. Out of all the court hearings that I had, I mean, I'm coming out fucking with my wrists, you know what I mean? Like shackled to, you know, you walk out in court, you look like fucking Hannibal Lecter, you know what I mean?
They do it like that on purpose.
Of course, bro. You know what I mean? You're in a box on the side, she could barely see me, you know what I mean? Like, whatever, she's not, but she looked at me. One of my conversations with the judge at one point, when they were talking, like, do you have anything to say for yourself? I think I told him, like, hey, I'm a lot of things, but I wouldn't have done this, you know what I mean? And I need to fight this case outside. Like, this lady got hit in the face with a gun. Damn. You know what I mean? I think they shoved the gun in her stomach. That's what she brought up to the DA later, because he was saying, he said some shit like, oh, well, him and his friends, you know, they must have got to her. She's changing her this. That lady in court said, I'm not afraid of him or his friends. You know? She said, the guy that robbed me put the gun in my stomach, and when I looked down, he had tattoos all over his hands and arms. I didn't have nothing on my hands or arms at that time. She's like, and I think she said, did he get them removed in here? The DA was just, you know, I got to hear the speech from the judge about sometimes the system works, sometimes it doesn't. You know what I mean? I'm happy that in this case, you didn't get caught up in that and you're free to go.
In the interest of justice.
Dismissed my case.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Then I was back in Boyle Heights telling the story, you know, and Bear's like, what the fuck are you going to do now? Fuck, I don't know. I mean, if I can hang out here, I'm a tattoo, you know.
That's right.
And that's where it started. You know what I mean?
Did you go into an actual apprenticeship?
I didn't do an apprenticeship.
Okay.
I had tried to get an apprenticeship prior. You know what I mean? Like driving down the street with my homies. Oh, there's a shop. We'd all go in there. They didn't want no parts of us in there at all. You know what I mean? But I think Bear was on some shit like, bro, I'm not gonna fucking apprentice you. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna, you know. But he's like, if we already been tattooing, just tattoo, you know? So I wasn't like officially working at the shop, but I was tattooing a lot more. He helped me. I got into a car accident where I was driving down the street and somebody turned in front of me. I hit their car, but it was like a group of fucking teenagers. I ended up hopping out of the car, telling them fucking, you know, like, what the fuck? I got them to sign that it was their fault type shit, you know what I mean, for the insurance company or whatever. I was mad. I think I got $3,000 or something to fix my car. I shot that shit to Bear. He bought me tattoo
All your
equipment,
supplies.
and I just started fucking tattooing. You know what I mean? And then I had moved around. I looked for an apprenticeship out in the valley a little bit. That wasn't working. I kind of made a deal with my mom, like, look, if I beat this case, I'm gonna try and head back out that way and get my fucking shit together. You know what I mean? Like, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. So
where's that way? At this point, that way is what, the valley?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was a shop on Devonshire and Topanga.
Devonshire, Topanga.
Yeah, it was across from
By the Saddle Ranch.
across from Los Toros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was a little shop right there. I ended up meeting some people that tattooed, and they're like, oh, you could, you know, I think I was just going into shops at the time. There was a shop in Simi Valley too that I went in.
Yeah.
And I talked to somebody there, and they're like, well, you don't tattoo, like, well, we're not fucking hiring you, you know? And then one of the dudes was like, fuck, I'll talk to the boss, you know what I mean? I ended up doing like an audition tattoo, and they were like, oh, fucking, yeah, you could tattoo. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they just hired me. They put me at that shop on Devonshire and Topanga, and then I worked in East
Are you talking
LA
about the
as
one
well.
on Topanga or the one on Devonshire? Because there's one right around.
Oh, there's one that's still there on Topanga
on
now.
Topanga.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right
no,
next to
yeah,
Rosie's Barbecue. Or what?
yeah. That's that dude that owned that shop actually works with me now. That
No shit, right on. Okay.
yeah. But I went back and forth from the Valley to the East LA shop.
Okay.
Predominantly at the East LA shop, but I was trying to be around other shops and just learn what I could.
Absorb and learn
Yeah,
everything you can.
exactly.
Which by proxy, that is your apprenticeship.
Yeah, 100%. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I was taking fucking walk-ins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fucking people up. You know what I mean? Learning.
people
I
up.
mean, learning like fake it till you make it type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had been trying to get an apprenticeship and it just wasn't working out. And I'm like, okay, if these people say I could tattoo, then I could tattoo. But eventually Bear was like, look, bro, stop fucking working at that shop. Just come over here full time. So I stayed at that shop for a while. Then I ended up, one of the dudes that I worked out in the Valley with ended up at a shop called Needle Pushers.
Yeah, that's the home ranch.
Yeah. So Boyle Heights, City of Angels, I'm on Chavez, St. Louis, in between St. Louis and fucking Cummings maybe, or basically right by the freeway, right off of Cesar Chavez.
Okay.
And then, I mean, that shop was active, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Active area.
active. You know, that's like the birthplace of fucking gangbanging right there. You know what I mean?
East of Boyle Heights.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every neighborhood
That's like
around there.
actual Boyle Heights.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, it's
Yeah.
Boyle Heights. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand the difference between the East LA is an area, but you got the city of Boyle Heights.
Yeah,
Most of them gangs are in Boyle Heights.
Yeah, most of them, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, East
All the
LA has
Maravillas, everything. Yep.
East LA has like Maravilla, Lot,
Yep.
Mariana,
Hazard.
all those.
Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan was right up the street.
Yeah.
Breed Street,
Breed
Tiny
Street,
Boys, State Street,
Little East
Hazard.
Side.
Yeah, Hazard.
Yep.
Hazard is right up the street, up Soto, like that.
V&E, yeah,
all the
oh, yeah,
oldest
yeah.
neighborhoods
Yeah.
in the fucking world are right there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And for me, I was fortunate because I do lettering. You know what I mean? So.
And you're in the mecca.
And I'm
of,
in the
like,
fucking gangbang capital of the fucking world. Plus, the dude I'm working with is from 18. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So he don't want to do lettering. So every single one of his homies comes in. They're looking for the hookup because they're from his neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, why don't you meet my white friend here? You know what I mean? And fucking
introduce
he'll
you to
do
my
it for
Caucasian
he'll
friend,
do it for cheap as fuck because he don't know what the fuck he's doing yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're like,
where?
yeah, sure.
Fuck yeah. They're like,
yeah, run it.
1A, you know what I mean? Like
whole
fucking-
face.
Yeah, whole
dangerous
big
shit. Yep.
all that shit. You know what I mean? So I was having the time of my life over there. I'm tattooing every neighborhood.
But you're probably picking up a lot of like.
Oh,
you're
bro.
actually, you might be I mean, you're learning a lot.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want anybody leaving there like
Yeah.
I just did their hood dirty. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody going back to their neighborhood and getting clowned. That's for damn sure. You know what I mean? But I used to do things, people would come in and be like, yo, I want, you know, my hood on my chest from here to here, and I got $60. And I'd be like, he don't know I'd do this shit for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So $60 is a blessing.
But I'm like, all right, if you bring me somebody else from your neighborhood that's gonna pay me full price, I'll do your tattoo for $60. They're on the phone already. You know what I mean? Like, shit, I got 3 homies that I'll bring you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I said, $60 is, like you said,
Back
$60
then,
is a
$60
blessing.
was a
I don't
lot.
give a
That's a lot
fuck.
of money
I
back
would have
then,
done that
too.
shit for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't know that, but $60, if I can make $100 a day doing this shit, I'm on. You know what I mean?
Think about what you just said compared to right now.
Bro.
Think about what you
Homie.
just said. If I could make $100 a day,
Yep.
If I made $100 a day today, I'd be hot, bro.
I'd be crying.
Yeah,
bro.
I'd be salty.
Man.
Yeah, no. But I mean, yeah, you don't come from money. You don't come from, you know what I mean? There's no silver spoons. You know what I mean? So
me and you didn't have that.
yeah. So $100, $100, bro. You know what I mean?
$100. Back then, $100 was a bunch of money.
100%.
We're talking Jack in the Box, gas.
Yeah, all that.
Possibly
all
a
that.
hotel.
Yeah, all that.
Yep.
Yeah, all that. So for me, I'm winning. I'm doing something I want to do. I'm not out here doing all this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just beat this case where my whole life flashed before my eyes, literally. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking, like I said, if I go down for this, whatever, it's probably karma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, if I do 15, I know what it is. You know what I mean?
My life is altered a different way now.
Yeah. I mean, you know what it is. You can be out here joking and friendly and slapping hands with everybody and hugs and whatever. As soon as them gates rack, you have your personality. You know what I mean? I'm the same way. I have my in there personality.
Yeah, it's different.
I'm not trying to pretend like I'm tough guy.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm bulletproof. I don't think I'm some soldier. I don't mean anything like that. But just who you are when them gates rack, you just have to be a different person.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I 100% agree.
So for me, now I'm in a tattoo shop, you know what I mean? Like clowning and laughing and bullshitting, and whether fights break out or we had shootings or whatever, so what? That's regular to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I still get this now, you know what I mean? And I'm getting money for drawing on people. Bro, I loved it. Yeah.
So you were still kind of active in your street life while you're tattooing as it grew?
I wouldn't say, like, for me, the activity, when I say active, I'm not out there pressing people. I'm not out there smacking people, asking them where they're from. Not like that, but bro, living in South Central, you're active.
Yeah.
Period. You know what I mean?
Because every other street.
That's what I'm saying. You got a bald head, and it is what it is. You go to get cigarettes, you probably keep one in the chamber. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I go grocery shopping. You know what I mean? Off Broadway, I'm at Food for Less. Like, yeah, I'm walking to the car. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Agreed.
yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're active or not. South Central is active. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and LA is active. You know what I mean? So you can't. And I say that. You know, Pacoima's active, San Fernando's active, El Monte's active, fucking SGV, Harbor, everywhere, and especially around that time. So to say I was active in my street life, no, but I'm still outside. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being there, I really genuinely believe that shit saved my life. You know what I mean? I know that's that cliche, oh, tattooing saved my life, and oh, doing this saved my life. I get phone calls, so-and-so got shot. Oh, so-and-so got killed. So-and-so, this happened, this happened. I'm missing all that shit because I'm in here.
But by proxy, you're also safer than being out there.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So because I'm in here doing this, I'm not out there doing that. You know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily like a choice, like, oh, let me give all this shit up, or let me, no, it was just, fuck, this is dope.
So what you got involved with because you needed something to calm the anxiety and the stress in your head
100%
turned into something that's probably saved your fucking life.
1,000%. It's changed everything about my life.
Yeah. And did you start traveling around and like, are you like, you jumped full on into lettering at this point, right?
I mean, that's really what I was doing at that point. Then, like I said, I had a friend of mine that worked for Rance at Needle Pushers, and he kept telling me, hey, come out here, come check out the shop. And whatever, I'll stop by one of these days. I ended up going, blew my mind, bro. I walked into Needle Pushers. They had a flying pig, surreal, like fucking mural on the wall with like these surreal cactuses. At the end of the fucking shop, Mule, Alex Garcia had done this fucking Jesus piece with like black and white spray paint. It looked like a fucking portrait. It was amazing. I walked into these booths. These guys had, you know, metal boards or cork boards on the wall with magnets holding up all these drawings, all these fucking, our shop wasn't like that. We had dirty tubes in the fucking restroom. We had, you know what I mean? We had bullet holes in the wall. Like, it was a little grimy hood shop. We were still doing dope shit, but I didn't know about that yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I saw that shop, I was like, I'm gonna work here. Within a year, I was at that shop. And then I was the dude from the East LA shop in the Valley. And then I started, you know what I mean? Lettering.
Needle Pushers has always been a good
it's
standard shop in San Fernando Valley.
stand up bro, the people that came out of that shop, legends in the tattoo industry, in my opinion. A lot of people might not talk about them, but yeah, like I said, Alex Garcia, Chris Paez, some dude named 12, my homie Joey that passed away, my other homie Joey, they call him Worm.
12 works on Ventura. He works
he does. Yeah. Him and Rance are partners in that shop. But yeah, Mule ended up leaving. Alex and Chris ended up leaving. They opened Dolorosa. I mean, those guys are amazing artists, bro. Amazing artists. They, in my opinion, there was plenty of people all over LA doing amazing shit, but that was a different perspective on it. That was like the artistic Valley kid.
Well, they blended the Valley culture with
Tagger.
Yeah,
exactly.
That graffiti edge they had opened up like a portal to some new shit.
Yeah, 100%. So for me, coming from this gangbang fucking lettering to that, I felt like I had to step it up even more. Like, okay, let me add my, I was already putting my own twist on it anyways to try and stand out in that environment. That when I came there, I really felt like I had a chip on my shoulder with something to prove. You know what I mean? And then I did really well at that shop. I ended up moving right across the street. I moved.
Right there off Parthenia, right?
Satakoy and Luis.
You're right by the Van Nuys Airport.
Yeah. I ended up moving right across the street from there.
No way.
Bro, I would be in there till 6 in the morning.
That's the hood right there, too.
Yeah, I would walk across the street, go up to my apartment, sleep till noon, get up, and walk back across the street and be there till 6 in the morning again. All I did was tattoo. Yeah. So for me, like I said, I love being outside. I love being, you know what I mean? But I found something that I loved more. You know what I mean? It was, Rance was a great dude. Everybody there. You know what I mean? The way that they treated me, it was, I felt welcome there too. You know what I mean? Amazing. I ended up having some falling outs with some people over the years, but I could still say some of those fucking people are, some of my best friends in the industry. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what I mean about being able to see shit from here, see shit from here, see shit from there. I ended up having to leave that shop. There was a situation that I needed to progress. I linked up with Ruger. I don't know if you know.
I know who he is,
Bro, fucking amazing artist. I ended up like coercing that dude into fucking opening a shop with me. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I got in his ear, I made it sound really nice, like fucking
sold it,
Yeah, I mean, amazing. I just wanted to work around an artist like that too. So we opened a shop in Hollywood, and that was a weird time. It was right in between like the MySpace era and
Facebook.
Facebook was already out, but Facebook wasn't like pictures like that. Facebook was all the weird comments and fucking, you know what I mean? Like
I missed all that. I was in the joint.
Yeah. Facebook, I wasn't on that shit. It was before Instagram. So I put like $50,000 into that shop. We had Mac and Retina came and did the whole outside wall. The homie Vio came and did some stuff inside. We had sliding glass booths. We had an upstairs, downstairs. We had, in my opinion, one of the nicest shops in LA. And nobody knew we were there. You know what I mean? And Bear came to work with me for a little while. A couple other people came to work. Somebody from Triggs' shop came to work. Triggs was busted. He was doing some time on some graffiti shit. Everything that could have went wrong with that shop went wrong, bro. Everything. From fucking shootouts to fucking city permit issues, plumbing issues. Some lady skipped the curb, drove a car through the front door one night. Yeah. Everything that could have went.
Were you on the board with Hollywood or
Hollywood and Wilton? Yeah.
Oh, you're in the hood.
Yeah, right.
That's 18 right there too.
It's all white fence neighborhood, but
no, you're right. Break down a little farther. Okay. You're right.
Yeah. But yeah, right off Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah, Hollywood and Wilton. And it was dope. I had fun, but I lost my ass. You know what I mean? It wasn't doing well. I was getting discouraged. It was around the time where everybody was getting into the weed game heavy. And a couple of my homies were getting into that shit. Triggs had just come home, and I was talking to him, and I was like, bro, fuck all this tattooing shit. You know what I mean? Like, I had more money than I ever had in my whole life working at needle pushers. I had a goal that I set for myself that I didn't want to break $100 bill for a year. So every $100 bill I made, I just put in a box for a year. If somebody paid me in all hundreds and I didn't have no money in my pocket, I was broke. If somebody paid me,
400s and 120s, I had $100 in my pocket. So I just, and I put all of that money into that shop. And then with it not working out and not doing well, yeah, I was discouraged. Triggs had just come home. He was coming there to see Ruger. They were close, and me and him were chopping it up in the back. I had known him. We weren't super close, but we had our, you know, our correspondence, and he was talking shit to me in the back. Like, what do you mean you're going to stop tattooing? You know? So you're fucking stupid. You know? Like, I just got out from doing this, and this. He's like, well, I see you're working there. You know what I mean? It's not like you're not known around here, but he's like, there's, you know, he's like, I'm hearing about you. It's like, why don't you go work with Norm and them? Like, bro, I don't know Norm like that. You know? Like, he's like, if you can't get no money with Norm and them, then quit. Because, you know? I'm like, bro, I'm good. He's like, I'm going to call him. I'm going to see what, I was like, nah, don't do that, because I don't want to be hired because you need a favor. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be hired. I had met Norm at a convention one time, briefly. I had one of his machines, and fucking we had an interaction there, and then never again. But he ended up calling Norm anyways. I went to Sin City and I talked to him, and I was like, hey, maybe I, you know, what do you think? You think I should? And he's like, bro, I already called him. You know what I mean? Like,
fuck what you're going through.
Yeah, I already talked to him. Said you're good. You know, he said, let's set it up. Fucking go meet with them. I went and met with them, and yeah, that was Fairfax. That was like
the one Chavo worked at too.
No, Chavo was at Sin City with Triggs.
But didn't he eventually go to Norm's shop?
He came later. Yeah, yeah. I had a correspondence with the guys that worked for Triggs. You know, a little like, hey, what's up? And clowning and bullshitting in the shop, but none of us were really close. We were acquaintances, and it's not like I disliked any of them, but I didn't know them that well.
Yeah.
When I got the job with Norm, that shit changed everything for me.
I bet.
Everything, bro. Like, overnight.
Because that's all those guys did was lettering over there, huh?
All they did was tattoo.
Okay.
Period. You know what I mean? But Norm did lettering. Norm did other shit. Norm was a fucking maniac. Like, you walk around upstairs here, and there's 5 pieces from Norm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, at least minimum 5 pieces from
easy.
Norm,
Norm went out of town when I first started working there. And I think he went to Paris, Japan, a couple places. He was gone for like 3 months.
I told Chal, you know, he's one of the only guys. We were in some of the same graffiti circles. Our crews are very friendly, and he's one of the only guys I never got to shake hands with, and I feel like I missed out on a huge
Norm?
life. Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Dude. Norm came on with Sullen right as he passed.
Nah, bro. Norm was... There's a lot of people say things about Norm.
Yeah.
Obviously, within the industry, there's, you know, people that were friends that not friends anymore. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Aside from the fact that that's my homie, and if you say anything bad about him in my presence. But I mean, just outside of that, just me knowing him, Norm was an amazing person, bro. He helped me a lot. Him and Flox helped me a lot break down, you know, like being able to sit here and do what I'm doing right now. Norm wanted to be your friend. Norm wanted you to like him. So Norm treated you as such. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Norm will give you the shirt off his back. Literally, I've seen him do it. You know what I mean? I've seen people come in the shop and be like, yo, you don't have this in a large anymore? Oh, man. And he'd be like, here, you know?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, well, he'd be like, take it, you know? And they'll go put a different shirt on. Like, but Norm was also a beast. You know what I mean? When it came to everything, you know? Tattooing. I would watch Norm do a fucking full rib piece, walk in the back of the shop, build and tune a tattoo machine, go in his office, do a design for fucking Bruca or some fucking clothing line that's, you know, and then come back out and handle his next appointment. So Norm left for 3 months. I think he went to Paris, Japan, a couple places. When he came back, I think I was the only one in the shop that night, or everybody else had left for the day, and he was breaking down all this stuff. He was showing me all the shit he got in Japan, showing me all this stuff. He pulled out 2 portfolios and he handed me one. He's like, you know, we went over to his station and he's taking the portfolios apart and pulling out the pages and pulling out pictures. And he's like, help me break these down. Like, all right. He had money behind every picture.
Oh, for traveling.
So I'm taking money out, setting it, you know what I mean? Taking money out.
That's actually genius. Wow.
I'm like,
photo album. Damn.
bro, he had like 50 grand. I'm like, bro, you've been gone for 3 months? You got $50,000 in cash? She's like, oh, I bought this Rolex at the airport. If I don't like it, I can...
At the airport?
At the airport, just in case. If you don't like it, you return it back here, get his money back. That's another way.
That's another like 20 grand?
Bro, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you made $70,000 in 3 months? At that point in my life, if somebody was like, hey,
that's attractive.
Let's go hit this house, and there might be some people in there, and we might have to, but it's 70 grand a piece, I would have done it.
Yeah. It was an option.
You know what I mean? At that, I was like, bro, you made $70,000 flying around the world, fucking tattooing people, having a blast, showing me pictures, talking to me about this, showing me, oh, I got this in Japan from so-and-so. Mm-hmm. At that point, I was like, bro, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He didn't really try to mold me or anything. He didn't really like take control or anything, but he was like, just be here with us. Do cool shit.
Yeah, do cool shit.
That's it. You know what I mean?
Cool shit
do
with
cool
us.
Shit with us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So in the mix of all of that, when I was tattooing in East LA, I was living on 43rd at one point. I tattooed my neighbor. I tattooed a couple other people on my street. There was a kid across the street whose dad owned a tow truck, and younger kid, he ended up being a gopher type for Warner Brothers Music. He brought, I guess they were shooting a music video or something for some dude named Little Scrappy from Atlanta.
Okay.
He met this kid on the set of the music video or whatever. He was running errands for him, whatever. He told him that he was from South Central, or they had some talk, you know what I mean, or whatever. However it came up. And he's like, oh, you grew up in South Central? Dope. Where you live right now? And he's like, South Central. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit. I guess he wanted to see it. He'd never been there before. Mm-hmm. So this kid brought Little Scrappy to South Central. I wasn't there. From the story that this kid told me, basically, like, he brought him to the Slauson swap meet. He brought him to a couple other spots, and then he brought him to our street. I think he was close friends with my neighbor. You know what I mean? He was younger. Yeah. I did a big South Central on his arm. I did some other tats on him. And I think that conversation started like, oh, damn, these, everybody on the street is tatted, face tats, head tats. And the kid was like, oh, well, the tattoo dude lives right there. He tattoos everybody, and fucking, I think he asked him, like, well, do you think he'd tattoo me? Or can you call him? Like, fuck, whatever. Yeah. He called me. I was with a couple of my homies. They were headed to Burbank, Warner Brothers Studios, Studio City-ish area over there by...
I think that is Burbank.
Yeah.
Toluca Lake, Burbank.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, fuck it, I'll pull up. You know what I mean? Whatever, let's go see what this is about. At that time, I'm still young in the tattoo game. For me, tattooing a celebrity is enticing. Like, oh shit, maybe I can. Appealing, maybe I can tattoo this guy. Maybe I could this. Maybe I could that. We went. It was me and like 3 or 4 of my homies were with me, so I just brought them. We had to talk before, everybody on your best behavior. Don't fuck this up for me, type shit. You know what I mean? My homies was like, yeah, fuck, whatever. What are we gonna do? We go in there, met the dude. He talked about what he wanted to get tatted. I did some on his hand, I think. They were filming a New Year's party type scene for some shit. And while we're there, DJ Quick showed up with J-Rock from TDE.
Oh shit.
And Top Dog that owns TDE. I was fucking blown away. Like, that's fucking DJ Quick right there. You know what I mean? Like
the LA dude that lives in the valley now.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm like, damn, that's dope. We start chopping it up. They were real standoffish. They're Bloods, you know what I mean?
Bloods, yeah.
I think Quick was kind of like, who the fuck brought all these fucking essays over there? You know what I mean? Like, it was a little weird in the beginning, but by the end of it, we're all talking, we're all laughing, everybody's bullshitting. There was some dude that worked for Warner Brothers named Mike the Greek, was the director. He's like, yo, you know these guys? I don't know them, you know what I mean? But whatever, we're talking about LA shit. Like, fucking, they're from Watts. It's right up the street. I'm off Avalon. You just keep going up. You're in Watts. So we're chopping it up, whatever. But we ended up having a good rapport with these people. And at the end of it, they're like, yo, we're shooting a music video. in 2 weeks or whatever. Why don't we try and promote some black and brown unity type shit? You know what I mean?
Which back then would have been important.
For sure. You know what I mean? For sure. Even today, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even today, it's very relevant in my opinion.
It is very relevant.
You know,
back then it was hectic.
It was super hectic.
Super hectic,
then.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They had I mean, I don't want to get into it, but there was a lot of stuff in between where I'm at and where they were at. All that middle area was going to war over black and brown.
Yeah.
I realize I'm white, you know what I mean? But all my homies are Mexican.
Yeah.
They, obviously lumped me into that, category. Like, okay, you guys are from South Central. You guys are from right up the street. Let's have you guys come out if you guys are willing.
Yeah.
Of course, bro. Come on. You know what I mean? For one, we get to be in a music video. Cool. You know what I mean? Two, why not, bro? You know what I mean? I fuck with all the black dudes on my street. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, I
listened to all that music too growing up.
100%, bro. I get to be in a music video with DJ Quick. You know what I mean? So we go. They shot the video in the Nickerson Gardens.
Whew.
Bro, I thought we were going deep. Well, there's like 500 Bloods there, bro.
Bro, I don't think a lot of people. I've been to Jordan Downs. I've been to Nickerson's.
I've been to Jordan Downs.
I'll say right now, if you do not understand
Project Life is different,
Project
bro.
Life,
Project Life,
or the Linwood Courts,
Yeah.
like places like that, you really don't really
Hazard.
understand
Hazard,
what that is until you've actually been in those situations.
Aliso Village, all that
Yes,
places.
people from out of town want to always, I'm going to come hang out. Bro, it's not.
Don't
like,
go to the projects.
Don't go to the project.
Don't go to
Blair.
the projects, bro.
Yes, man.
No.
Like that scene in Training Day.
Yeah, don't go there. Yeah, if you don't have
You don't belong
business,
there, you
even
got
when
no
we
business.
got there,
On your toes.
we pulled in, bro, cars were surrounded, you know what I mean? J-Rock and somebody else came running up, like, no.
They're with us.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We got out, we did, and I mean, my homies are all, blue this, blue that, you know what I mean? Not even intentionally, you know what I mean? But just like, damn, okay. So in the midst of all that, I know we're there for a music video, but we're still in the fucking projects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're still...
Be aware of where you are.
It still is what it is at any point, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just because he said we could come here
doesn't mean that whole hood says
exactly, you know what I
This
mean?
is their hood.
100%. And with all due respect, everybody is the man in their own hood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go in there bumping into people, but I'm also not going to let nobody bump into me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of a weird place to be.
It's a very weird place, but they were very welcoming. I met some of his big homies. I met some, you know what I mean? It was a very good experience. I'll say that, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you know what I mean? We're moving accordingly. We're not over there disrespectful at all whatsoever. I don't want to act like we went in there no, hell no. We were in there acting right. You know, we did the video, but we did what we were supposed to do. We had that. So there's two other Mexican kids that we see. One of my homies brought it to my attention. He's like, hey, I don't know who these kids are or whatever, but I seen that they were kind of out of place. I kind of pulled them over here with us. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Give a fuck. You know what I mean? It's all good. I start chopping it up with one of them. One of them's a little rapper kid. The other one's a photographer. So the photographer, I'm chopping it up with him. You know, he's taking pictures of me and my homies and shit. We got, bulletproof vests on and fucking shit that we brought with us. And, you know what I mean? We ended up staying in contact. At that video shoot, Kendrick was there, fucking, you know what I mean? There's a bunch of,
That was our different Kendrick back then.
Oh, it was K-Dot back then. He was freestyle. There's actually a video of it online. If you go under Nickerson Gardens Cypher, whole parking lot full. You'll see me in the background. You see my homies in the background. You see Kendrick rapping. You see a couple other LA rappers. There's some dude named Dub from South Central from Athens Park that's there rap. It's dope that I get to see that now, that somebody recorded it. But so this kid, that's the photographer, hits me every once in a while, you know what I mean? And, you need some gang members for a shoot or whatever. He came and shot at Needle Pushers. He shot some of my homies from different areas. He calls me one day and he's like, yo, I'm trying to get, he's like, you live in South Central, right? He lives in San Gabriel. He's like, he don't have a license, he don't have a car, nothing. He's like, I'm trying to get to this spot to do some background shit for this music video. I met some dude on MySpace. I'm talking to some dude on MySpace. He said, come film this video. He's like, I'm trying to get there on the bus. Do you know how to get from my house to these streets on the bus? I'm like, where are you trying to go? He's like, it's 63rd and Bryanhurst.
I already know where you're going with this. Man.
Bro, I'm like, bro, you can't go there on the bus.
That is a very dangerous area,
I'm like, your young ass with
$2,500 worth of camera equipment
back in those days
on the bus.
Yeah.
Like, bro, they're gonna eat you alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I seen him on the bus.
On the bus too?
Nice fucking camera.
Getting off.
You know what I
right
mean?
there?
I'd be
Yeah.
fucking walking home with it. So I'm like, homie, I'll come get you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the Hustle in the House music video for Nipsey Hussle.
No way.
I bring him to meet him. Bro, I don't think I've ever seen LA like that.
Yeah.
That shit was insane. Every car driving by is playing his music. I had heard of Nipsey before. I heard like some of his stuff that he had done on some mixtapes and stuff that was out. Somebody showed me one time, they're like, bro, this dude's from 60s and he's not afraid to say it. You know, like every song was 6-0 this, 6-0 that. And for me, I'm like, I don't have any issues with the 60s at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
But even if I did, I respect I'm like, bro, this fool's gang banging on fucking hit. You know what I mean? So I was excited about it. I'm like, damn, this shit is dope as fuck. And bro, there was 500 of them out there. You know what I mean? They shut down Crenshaw and Slauson. They're fucking jumping on top of cars. They're fucking, you know what I mean? I had never seen nothing like that.
I got a slight taste of it. We did a photo shoot one day right there.
Okay.
And I tried to tell my normal white friends, not like my culture, that, but we went there, and when we all met at the spot, I was like, I need you guys to be very aware of where we are right now. This 100%. Is not your average South Central.
Nah, hell no.
This is like we're in deep. This hood right here has generations of like, this is activity.
Yeah.
At a level,
places you just don't go.
And sure enough,
if you're not from there, you don't go.
Yeah, and Huero, I swear to God, within 10 minutes, they were about 400 of them were on the street.
Bro.
They wanted to know where we were. If I wanted to know if I was racist, like all that
100%.
came out. I ended up having to give half the merchandise away to them just to make it cool.
Yep.
And they actually were cool, but you have to realize people don't understand that some of these places are real. They're not a postcard or an Instagram picture.
Not at all. And those people in those areas, my area included, but areas like the jungles, areas like the 60s, you know what I mean? Nickerson's, Imperial Courts, all those places, those people ain't stupid.
No.
They realize a lot of people are there to exploit their neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Photographers, videos, like you're there.
Yeah, they're not
the way
dumb.
that people live. Yeah.
Like, oh, what, you're going to take pictures of me, pour on my porch?
Yeah.
Fuck you. You know what I mean? So they have that type of fucking attitude. And I would too. You know what I mean? Like, you come over here, you're going to exploit us for what? Your benefit? Your profit? What am I getting out of this shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I completely understand it. And I respect it because I would do the same. You know what I mean?
The same way. You're going to fill my house.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, fuck are we what do you want us to do? Dance for you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, So I think there's been some people, you know, like the whole jungle situation, they figured out how to get paid and how to, you know what I mean? And I respect that very much. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like I said, I'm a guest over there. You know what I mean? I brought him. I'm out of place. Bald white head. I think I had like a blue Lakers fucking throwback jacket on. A fucking pistol for sure. You know what I mean? I'm not going over there butt naked. So I'm watching every person. You know, and this is my first time in the 60s like that. So, but the level of whatever the fuck was going on was amazing. You know what I mean? The movement that he was inspiring, it was dope. I had never seen anything like it. Like I said, the energy.
Yeah, I've heard he brings that in.
It was fucking something else. And I ended up hanging out with this kid all day. I think I took him home. I don't know. We got something to eat. I told him, I'm like, bro, that shit was dope. You know what I mean? Whatever you do with this dude, you know what I mean? Like, shit, let me know. You know, we're at Slauson Donuts taking pictures. We're at Slauson Teas. We were all up and through there. I'm getting introduced to people. Like I said, being same thing like in the Nickersons. I know where I'm at, so I know how to conduct myself. I'm being very respectful, but at the same time, you know what I mean? And I met Nipsey that day, chopped it up real quick, whatever. Fast forward a couple weeks, months maybe, I get a call from my homie JP, who's the photographer that I ended up taking over there.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, I got this meeting I'm trying to get to off of Fairfax or La Cienega or whatever. He's like, I'm like, bro, I got you. Don't trip. You know what I mean? I went and picked him up. It's a meeting with Nipsey. Nipsey's Eritrean, which is, at one point, they had a civil war in Ethiopia and it split up.
Okay.
I didn't know none of this shit.
Yeah.
So it's essentially the same land, but Eritrea and Ethiopia are now two separate places.
Okay.
We meet up at this fucking restaurant
in Little Ethiopia, which I didn't even know existed.
I didn't know
in
that.
LA.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and we have Ethiopian food. First and foremost, I walk across the street and I introduce myself to, hey, what's happening, bro? He's like, what's up, bro? I remember you. You were at the video shoot. I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have anything to do with Crip or blood or Mexican or anything. I'm just not used to LA motherfuckers acting like they remembered you.
Yeah.
We cool guy each other all the time.
We're cool guy.
We're on that shit like, oh, hey, what's up, homie? Nice to meet
what up,
you.
dog? Yeah.
Knowing damn well you know who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? But nah. And then he's like, hey, bro, how do you say your name? I said it to him again. They call me Huero, bro. And he's like, Huero, what does that mean? So right off the bat, I'm like, who the fuck is this dude? You know what I mean? Like, you're looking me in the eye. You're telling me you remember me. You're asking questions. You know what I mean? Bro, I just seen you in your hood with 1 million people. You're a fucking star. You know what I mean? Even if nobody else realized it, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously they did, but I'm like, damn, this is dope. We go inside, we sit down, we eat. We're eating Ethiopian food. He's like, you ever had this shit before? No, bro. He tells me about where he's from. It's like a fucking plate like this with like this flat, not like a tortilla, but like flat bread. It's starch-free bread. It's like a sponge kind of, and there's little piles of food on it. You tear it off, you pick it up, you know what I mean? He's talking to me about how in Africa and in those areas, when you walk into the house, the woman will come and wash your hands. You know what I mean? He's telling me all this, and I'm like, bro, who the fuck is this dude? You know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of Crips. This dude was different. You know what I mean? I met his dad that day, some other people. We had this meal. When we left, I told my homie JP, like, hey, whenever you can, bring me around. You know what I mean? So between me being in the tattoo industry aspect and being around people like Ruger and being around people like Norm, and then I got to be on the back end around people like my homie JP, this dude Nipsey, like all of those people changed everything for me. You know what I mean? Like I got to see them sit down and birth the fucking marathon concept. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Like this was before any of that shit was done. Me and my homie JP were working on the All Money In logo on fucking napkins.
Damn.
You know what I mean? And I didn't like it. I was like, no, I think you should have these lines in the eye because it looks more like, and they ended up going with, you know what I mean? But whatever. I was a part of that. You know what I mean?
Damn.
And I was, for me, I don't mean like, oh, I was a part of that. I mean like, damn, I got to fucking witness that shit. You know what I mean? I didn't do anything. I didn't contribute anything. But I got to be the dumbest person in the room. You know what I mean? With Norm, I got to be the dumbest person in the room with Nip and them. I got to be the dumbest person in the room with Eclipse and some of these Seventh Letter and MSK guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got to be around the owner of Diamond. You know, we're next to Supreme. I got to be in these fucking places where I'm the dumbest person in the room. And it was fucking amazing. You know what I mean? I got to witness all that. They had a studio on 7th and Olive in downtown. And I used to go to the studio whenever I could. You know, like I said, Nip was, aside from like his infectious fucking like hustle, because you can't sit around somebody like that and then leave the same. You know what I mean? Every time I leave, I'm like, bro, I'm not doing shit with my life.
Bro, I still watch his podcast.
Yeah.
He has like speaking things on Instagram that I'm blown away by how this dude
100%.
talks. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, him and JP are very similar. And his brother, Sam. Sam is a fucking maniac in his own right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're just different, bro. You know what I mean? And I don't think I had ever been around people like that before. Obviously, there's people like that in every aspect of life. There's people, you know what I mean? But in the hood, there's a lot of content people. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of ignorant people. And I don't mean that like stupid. I just mean ignorant. Like, if you don't know no better, you don't know no better. You know what I mean? And I was very ignorant at that time. I had never seen anything like that. I had never been around rappers and things like that where people were just 10 toes down to the ground, fucking letting their hustle speak for themselves and really benefiting from it. I had never been around that. And I started tattooing some rappers. I ended up going on tour with that dude Lil Scrappy and some other people. I went to Atlanta, I went to Texas, and I came back to LA. And I was, like I said, you can't return the same. I had just witnessed all of this shit. You know, I'm in fucking Atlanta with Lil Scrappy and, you know, T.I.'s there, fucking Lil Wayne type shit. You know what I mean? Like, and then I'm back in South Central on the block. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be out there. These motherfuckers are throwing $500,000 in the club at night. You know what I mean? Like, his release party was at some club called Onyx. They were literally raking up money. Like, you bend down to tie your shoe and there's two dudes standing next to you making sure you don't pick nothing up. You're walking on money, you know what I mean? Damn. This thick on the floor. I'd never seen nothing like that before.
I've never.
You know what I mean?
Like that.
Never. I know now what the strip club culture is like in Atlanta, you know what I mean? But before I was like, well, what the fuck? You know what I mean? These dudes just threw a house. You know what I mean? Obviously not one person, but collectively the club, you know what I mean? There's $500,000 on the floor here. There ain't nothing like that over here. No. I mean, now there's things that are trying to catch up. But anyways, fast forward, being around all that, I used to go to the studio as much as I possibly could just to soak shit up, you know what I mean? And I met all kinds of people through him. I've been introduced to people through him. I have good relationships with other rappers, and I've tattooed other people because of him, because of my homie JP as well, you know what I mean? I ended up teaching him how to drive, you know what I mean? Like, I know his whole family. I know his parents, you know what I mean? His wife now. His wife is on the morning show at Power 106.
Really?
She does the Brown Bag podcast.
Oh,
and
shit.
And now she's the morning personality. She used to work with Big Boy on, I think it was 92.3, or maybe they were at Power and then moved to 92.3, and then she went, But anyways, I mean, I have a relationship with all these people that are excelling in life, doing what they want. So for me, at that time, it was like, man, I need to get with the program. You know what I mean? I can't be the fucking the one dude out of this group that's not excelling. You know what I mean? Yeah. So those people, I feel like another way it was very beneficial for me to be outside of the pocket rather than, you know what I mean? I was around people that, I used to, Nip had a whiteboard at the studio and he would write his goals, and there was a line, and then he would write, I think like, I forget how he worded it. Not pros and cons, but risk and reward.
Risk and reward. Okay.
You know what I mean? And it was like, okay, if we're gonna drop $100 mixtape, what's the risks? You know what I mean? Are we gonna be laughed at? Are we gonna be, are we gonna become a joke in the industry? Like, who the fuck do these guys think we are? You know, and the rewards of it. You know, I'd never done nothing like that. Now, I mean, now I'm older. I've listened to or indirectly read, like, Think and Grow Rich and some of these other books. Nip had been doing that shit. You know what I mean? Nip was a student of success before I even knew I wanted to be successful. You know what I mean? He had that mind. Same with JP. You know, JP's told me more stories out of books than I've read in my entire life. And they took all these Fortune 500 companies' models to success, all these different books, and they applied it to what they were doing, from a hood aspect and from a music aspect. And bro, it was the most inspiring shit. You know what I mean? And Nip was the most humble, polite. I mean, he'll still slap somebody, you know what I mean? But at the same time,
still active,
Oh, bro, he's still, and for me, aside from the Nickerson Garden situation, and you know what I mean, like J-Rock and Top Dog and all of them, and then going over with Nipsey and them, I had, in my personal opinion, rappers were all just entertainers. I actually got to meet and be around some people that like, okay, this dude really is who he says he is. Yeah. He's really from where he says he's from, and he's really doing all this shit. So it changed my perspective. It made me feel like, damn, I could do this shit too, you know? Nipsey bought a Maybach. He had a V12. We used to go to this fucking spot in Inglewood called 1500 or nothing. He had a V12 Mercedes. And bro, I'd never been in a car like that fast. You know what I mean? Insane. He's fucking hitting it. I'm thrown into the fucking seat. He's laughing.
It's not a car for a female. You need to really control it.
So he ended up putting that down. I think he went down to San Diego, and he used that as a down payment. He came back with a $250,000 Maybach. Wow. Bro, I'm standing in the parking lot looking at this dude's car. He's showing me all the buttons and all this shit, and I'm like, bro, this is the illest machine I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Like, he hit a button and the front seat, folded up, and then the back seat pulled up to it so you can lay down completely in one side. Like, all. And I'm like, bro, this is, and he's like, bro, you should get one.
You should get one, yeah.
And see, that's my reaction.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between them and me. That's my reaction.
Yeah.
I should get one. He's looking at me like,
why can't you?
Why? Yeah, what do you mean? You know?
Yeah.
Like you got this, I mean, he didn't say it, but you got the same 24 hours in a day that I do. Yeah. What the fuck's the difference? You know what I mean? My reaction is, well, I'm not a fucking rapper. You know what I mean? His reaction is, well, what the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Why not? And then he even said, he's like, well, it don't have to be the Maybach. You know what I mean? Yeah, this shit, told me how he got it. You know what I mean? I get this type of money. I do this, Yeah, back then, I think he's getting 10 grand a show. You know what I mean? Which is more money than I ever seen, but not what he was aspiring to be at all whatsoever. But he was dead ass serious. Yeah. Why not? He's like, well, get the S. It's the same car. It just doesn't have, you know what I mean? You don't need the back seat. Bro, that was it after that. I was like, yeah, why not? Why can't I do that?
That's pretty serious. That hit me pretty hard when you said,
no,
that was my experience.
That was my reaction.
Yeah.
100%, bro. It was. And I wholeheartedly laughed at him. Like, who the fuck do you think I am, bro? You're the fucking rapper. And he looked, like, the way he looked at me, I was almost embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
am I hanging out with somebody who couldn't achieve this?
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, bro, I started going out of town. I started emulating what Norm was doing. I linked up with Flox. That's a whole nother story. I started traveling with him at times. I went up to the Bay. So rewind a little bit. After my dad helped me get bailed out of jail, him and I started corresponding, started having a relationship.
Oh, that's good. Right on.
He ended up moving out here. I see that dude fucking 3 times a week now.
That's awesome.
Everything he wasn't, like I said about my mom, same. Everything he wasn't as a father,
he is now.
He is as a grandfather. You know what I mean? My kids, I set them down, they hit the ground running. Papa, run up to the, you know what I mean? My mom's relationship with my kids, great. They, but I had a talk with him at one point. I told him, man, I was down in San Diego. Flox came and met me at this convention. We had a little correspondence there. The booth next to me was some people from Salinas. They were throwing a convention in Monterey Bay. And they asked me, hey, we seen your writing. We'd like you to do the t-shirt for this event. All right, cool. How much? You know what I mean? Like, whatever. They're like, we'll pay you whatever you want. Oh, excuse me. I'm like, I don't know what, I mean, at that point, what do I charge for a fucking t-shirt?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. They're like, would you want to come and do the convention? Yeah, of course. They're like, look, we'll pay you. We'll give you a free booth. We'll give you somewhere to stay. I'm done. Whatever. Cool.
Yeah.
I spoke with my dad. I had talked to him about some of this. You know what I mean? He knew my relationship with Nip. He knows my relationship with JP. He knows my relationship with Norm. You know, him and I we're getting to know each other. He moved out here. I moved in with him for a year, and we got to know each other.
Yeah.
We bumped heads. We fucking had blowouts, all this stuff. We worked through it. Whatever. It is what it is. My daughter moved away for a year, and I didn't see her. How can I blame him? You know what I mean? He didn't have control over the situation. So I'm starting to look at it from a mature perspective. But I told him, I think I'm going to try and buy a fucking Benz, you know? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, hey, man, I'm traveling. I'm getting money. I just did this show in fucking Dago. I made X amount of dollars. I ended up on a boat out there, you know, like I'm starting to get money. These people want me to do this show. These give me free booths. They're paying me for this. I'm like, yo, I'm tired of fucking driving this fucking Honda. You know what I mean? Not like it wasn't good enough, but that was one of my goals that I set. And I did the whole risk and reward. I talked to a couple people about it. I talked to Casey, like I said, Eclipse from MSK. So, yo, I'm thinking about this. He's like, well, would you rather get tattooed by the dude in the fucking Honda or the dude in the Benz? I'm like, shit, probably the dude in the Benz. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but whatever. So my dad's reaction was like, you're a fucking asshole. What do you think, you're a doctor? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to buy a fucking Mercedes? Because he's like, which one? I'm like, I'm going to buy a fucking S550. You know what I mean? I'm going to buy the Benz, you know?
8-cylinder at least.
Yeah. So I'm like, look, I'm going to go do this show in Monterey. If I can make the car payment 3 times in one weekend, I'm going to come back and buy it. Went and did the show, bro. I touched down Thursday night. I was tattooing. I tattooed Friday. I tattooed Friday night. I tattooed all day Saturday. Tattooed Saturday night. I tattooed all day Sunday. I was tattooing Sunday night. You know what I mean? They put me up in some dude's apartment who I'm still friends with today. I was tattooing at his apartment till Monday fucking morning, bro. I made like 12 bands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More money than I had ever made. And you know what I mean? I come back and I'm like, well, what's the payment? 2 G's? I killed that. Before I even talked to him, he's like, hey, go buy that car. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how come you thought I was an asshole a week ago? He said, it's only gonna make you work harder. It's only gonna make you, you know what I mean? You put that type of fucking car payment hanging over your head, you better fucking get to it. You know what I mean? Now, from a hood perspective, we're looking for the cheapest car payment possible. You know what I mean? We're looking for damn near no insurance. You know what I mean? All these types of things. And that's what I'm saying. Ignorance is not stupidity. You know what I mean? Being ignorant to the fact that I could make that type of money legally didn't make me stupid. It just, I just didn't know I could do that. You know what I mean? I got around some people that showed me it was possible. You know what I mean? And I owe them everything. You know what I mean? From Triggs to Norm to Nip to JP to my homie Bear. Like,
wow.
Not that the fucking car matters. You know what I mean?
No, but it's something like you had a good point. If you can do that, what else can you do?
Exactly.
And if you have something like that hanging over your head, how hard do you have to hustle to make sure this is
Yeah, there's no days off.
Yeah,
there's no days off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no excuses and there's no days off. You know what I mean?
Or else you're walking on that bus.
100%.
Yeah.
So fast forward, I went, there's a dealership on Figueroa and Washington, right up the street from the Staples Center that I'd been, you know, it's right down the street from fucking Felix. But there's a Mercedes dealership. I went in there with a fucking muscle shirt, tank top on, and 20 grand in my fucking pocket cash. And I fucking drove out in a $110,000 fucking car with no license. Didn't give a fuck. Didn't give a fuck. I told him I'm gonna buy this car. This dude, Raj, Indian dude, laughed at me. I told him, Raj, pull this fucking car out. I want to test drive it. He like, me and one of my homie, like, you know, we went back and forth negotiating. I told him I had 10 grand to put down. We worked out the numbers, blah, blah, blah. Got it to where, you know, it needed to be. And I told him, cool. Now I'll put 20 down. So drop that shit by $500. They dropped it. I drove out that motherfucker that day. You know what I mean? Nipsey was living at the Apex building in downtown, which was across the street from the Pantry. And they were doing a show out here actually at the observatory. I pulled in, went upstairs in the parking lot. I ended up in his homie Pac, some dude named Pac-Man from 60s, ended up in the car with me. JP was in the car with me. I hadn't even run into Nip yet. And we pulled across the street. Apex buildings here, Pantry's here. There's a parking lot across the street. Another dude from Watts named J-Rock, different J-Rock, was Nipsey's bodyguard. He's from Jordan Downs. He pulled up, he had his car, and Nip pulls up in the Maybach and got out. He looked at me. I got out of the car and he looked and he walked over and like kicked my tire. You know what I mean? And was like, that's right. You know what I mean? And like, that's your car? You bought that shit? You know what I mean? And for me, I don't seek another man's approval. You know what I mean? I don't need to, but bro, that feeling, you know what I mean?
And he pushed you in the beginning to make that step.
Probably didn't even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For him, that was something he said briefly. You know what I mean? For me, that was groundbreaking material. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and after that, it changed my perspective on a lot of shit. You know what I mean? Because I bought an S550, brand new off the lot, the brand new body style. I was flying down Crenshaw, flying down. My first time I drove that shit to my area, picked all my homies up. Where you want to go? Everybody's in the car. I went down Vernon, made a left on Broadway, went up to, they were like, let's go to In-N-Out. The closest In-N-Out to us is in Huntington Park. So we're taking slots. Bro, I was sitting on the curb handcuffed within fucking 2 minutes. Crash unit had us. They were pulling the car apart, you know, like, where the fuck you get this at? No. I was like, bro, my part of the deal with my dad was they weren't going to fucking finance me. So I asked him, I was like, bro, I got the cash. Could you co-sign? He said, the only way I'll co-sign for you is if you take care of your license situation. So within a week, I mean, that's, if I told him I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. So I took care of that. I had some money.
took care of that. But bro, I had a license, I had insurance, I had fucking, 4 gang members in a fucking $110,000 car on Slauson and fucking Compton Avenue. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Fucking handcuffed to the fence. And the funny thing is
they had to let you go.
One of the, they had to.
Yeah.
They told me, fucking, you got. I'm like, bro, search that shit. I'm not on parole or probation. Search it.
Yeah.
And they were just looking at me. One of them's giving me the blues over here. I'm cuffed to the fence. And one of the other ones is talking to my homie, and he's like, what the fuck? What do you guys do? And my homie's like, I don't do shit. But that dude tattoos. And the cop was an Inkslinger's customer.
No shit.
And he's like, oh, bro. It's like, hey, he's a tattoo artist. He paid $1,500, $2,000 for, you know what I mean? Tommy, Chente, fucking Brian Gonzalez, all those guys from that, you know what I mean? Those guys were getting stupid money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this cop, I mean, I feel like that was one of the shops that like pioneered getting money in LA, you know what I mean? Those guys were fucking killing it. And the cop knew. He's like, oh yeah, let him go. Like, I was like, oh shit, that's the first time I ever got that reaction for being a tattoo artist. But the cop knew. He's like, oh yeah, so-and-so did my portrait, so-and-so. Before we ended up chopping it up, he's like, hey, nice car, I was like, shit, that's the first experience I ever had with Newton Division like that. You know what I mean?
Shoot,
but
Newton, yeah.
hell yeah. Shooting Newton don't play, you know what I mean?
play,
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
They don't play. When I first moved to South Central, I witnessed that, you know what I mean? Very quickly, and
Valley White Boys working up in LA too.
bro, yeah. And they live in Santa Clarita, they live in fucking, you know what I mean? Yeah, San Fernando.
Northridge,
Yep.
Some in Simi Valley.
100%. And and don't get me wrong, they're gangbanging too. You know what I mean? They're with the shits too. Like, yeah, when I first moved there, somebody told me, hey, be careful. Because the block that I stayed on, there's a Crip gang there as well called Fortray. And they're like the
Fortray gang.
Yeah, they're like the Fortrays are going at it with the cops right now. And I didn't get that. I thought, yeah, of course.
That was a pretty normal thing.
Yeah, I was like, they're Crips. Of course they're going at it with the cops. And they're like, no.
No, it's different.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, I witnessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, more 90s nostalgia.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, you hear those brakes squeak and yeah. Yeah, I'm not worried about getting pulled over. I'm worried about getting shot at. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I mean,
so besides Nipsey, who else would you say would have been like a mentor of you? Because you're obviously well established in the lettering game at this point.
Shit. I mean, I wouldn't even I would call my homie JP more of a mentor than Nip, but it was, and he's younger than me, which is fucking crazy. You know what I mean? And he's from Mexico City. You know what I mean? Shit. He's the son of immigrants, you know what I mean? He worked to get his citizenship himself. You know what I mean? That's why for me, like, it doesn't, we talk about different cultures and different, you know what I mean? All of my story is very relevant with what's going on right now too. You know what I mean? Like my grandmother's from another country, you know what I mean? Her family, like the people around. Yeah. So, but I mean, Norm played a role in it. My homie Bear played a role in it. Even my homie Junior and his family played a role in it. You know what I mean? JP. I mean, there's all these people. I was fortunate enough, Triggs without him pushing me to do this. So yeah, I mean, it's the people around you, bro. Right. You know what I mean? And I'm impressionable. At 17 years old, at 15 years old, if you tell me, let's go do this. Fuck it, let's go do this. You know what I mean? So the same thing, I was just lucky. You know what I mean? I was in the right place at the right time.
You absorb. One of the things I've gotten from you tonight, you absorb like a sponge everything around you.
You have to. You know what I mean?
You hit the ground running with that.
But just as much of the negative too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I see, this dude and the respect he gets from doing what he's doing, should I want that? You know what I mean? So it works both ways. It's not necessarily the greatest thing to be, that sponge. But I mean, that's where I'm at now. That's what I'm trying to figure out. You know what I mean? I got apprentices at my shop. That's
what I was going to ask you about. Fast forward. Yeah. Let's get to you guys got a brand, you got a shop, you got a group of heavy hitters in this shop.
Yeah.
All dudes that I fuck with.
I got young kids too. I got a 22-year-old kid. I did it. Me and I was fortunate enough to be around Sleeps when he started his like Toberman Park shit. I ran into you there.
Yeah.
that day that I ran into you at the park, I mean, you see what's going on. You know where that's at. You know what I mean? You can't walk to the corner.
Another
You know what I
dangerous
mean?
area.
Yeah, 100%.
People,
Bro,
ain't no joke.
they've been dying over that park for 40 years, if not more.
Generations.
Yeah, generations been killing over that park.
Yep.
This apartment complex shooting at that apartment. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting on the back of that hibachi truck that was there that day.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and there's some little tagger kid talking, and I think he's talking to somebody else, and they're like, "Oh, Huero, he wants to meet you." I'm okay, cool. What's up, bro? Nice to meet you. Oh, you tattoo? That's cool. You know what I mean? I'm used to that. You know, and sadly, I'm a little more numb to it than I should be. You know what I mean? Especially talking about all these influences that I have.
Yeah.
For me to be somebody's influence is fucking astounding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm on my toes in that situation. You know what I mean?
I think we were all on our toes.
Of course. You know what I mean? I'm worried about if the cops are gonna walk over to me.
Yeah.
And I'm also worried about, you know, so I'm kind of paying attention to him loosely, and I'm sitting on the hibachi truck, and then I see a little kid walk over to him. You know what I mean? And this fucking dude looks like he's 15. And the kid's probably 3 or 4. And I'm like, bro, that's your son? Yeah. Like, all right, come over here. You know what I mean? Then I start talking to him more, and you know, oh, you tattoo? Okay, where you working at? He lives in Langdon. He lives on Orion.
Okay.
And in between Langdon and Orion on
Rayan.
Yeah. In those fucking concrete apartments.
I want to say honestly, and with all due respect, we got the projects, the Vietnams, and you got that Langdon area is almost like Jordan Downs.
Bro, that Langdon area, like I said, for me in the 90s and 2000s going over there, that shit was on and cracking. You know what I mean? My homie Junior's cousin is from there, and I know some other.
One of my best friends, Droopy from SoCal Tattoos.
Yeah, I fuck with Droops. Yeah. My homie Junior's cousin is Grumpy from Langdon, and bro, I mean, he's older than me. That dude, same thing. You know what I mean? One of the people I kind of looked at like, okay, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Definitely with the shits, but at the same time was a you know, he used to have business cards that he would hand out that said Grumpy the Pimp. You know what I mean? We'd be at the mall and be like, hey girl, here, your man's tripping here. Give me a call. You know what I mean? Like
Your man's tripping.
Yeah. But nah, that area's I mean, his apartments look like they were fucking made out of a concrete mold and then just stuck there. You know what I mean? So we're talking, and I'm like, okay, I know where you're at. So you're in the valley. I'm like, all right, well, we're in the valley. You know what I mean? What are you looking for a fucking place to be at? You know what I mean? Well, that kid's been there for a year already, grinding his fucking ass off.
Awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got another kid that he reached out to him talking about, oh, you're tattooing? I've been tattooing, you know? I'm like, how you know this kid? He's like, okay, he sold me something when I was younger. You know what I mean? Bring him over here, bro. You know what I mean? Like, if I can have all these people, you know what I mean? My homie Stress that works there.
Yeah, Stress.
You know what I mean? Bullet holes all over his fucking body. You know what I mean? He's got South Central tattooed big as fuck across his stomach, and it's ripped apart. He has no belly button. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, one of the first times I tattooed him, he had to hang a shit bag up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, I have to listen to that shit bubbling while I'm tattooing his, you know, like, I don't care how good of a tattoo, you know, like a tattooer you are. You know what I mean? You can get better at tattooing.
Yeah.
But I know some of the best tattoo artists in the world, and some of them are my best friends, and some of them suck as human beings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty common, yeah.
So I don't give a fuck how good your work is. You know what I mean? A 15-year-old kid with a fucking 38 could take that whole fucking thing away from you. You know what I mean? Even if they let you live, you know what I mean? Like, not even on some dramatic shit like that. One fucking car accident, you know what I mean? The weather outside right now. You slide around and hit the freeway and your arm's done.
Yeah, right.
All of a sudden, you better be a good fucking human being, because who gives a fuck about your tattoo career? That's gone.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it. If I can do anything to try and offset the shit that I done wrong, you know what I mean?
Make up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where I'm at now. Like, I'm not rich. I'm not fucking, you know what I mean? Comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm not any of those things. But I'm a hell of a lot more comfortable than I was. You know what I mean?
You got a good group of friends around you all the time, too.
And at the end of the day, there ain't nothing you can tell me I can't do.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
You got that Mercedes.
100%.
You got
you know what I mean?
studio too, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, bro, when I sold that fucking Benz, I got $27,000 for that shit. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It was worthless.
Yeah.
I'll never buy another one. Fuck, I'd lease a truck now. You know what I mean? I got $100,000 Impala though. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And if that shit goes missing, I get my check. If I totaled it once already and I got my check, you know what I mean? I'm looking at things different. I always wanted an Impala, but now that's an investment. Now that appreciates with value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if it fucking blows up or if I crash it, I still get my money back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Benz, I better have Gap. You know what I mean?
Because they're out Gap insurance.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So even though I did that, I don't necessarily look at it as an accomplishment, although it is, you know what I mean? To be able to maintain that. I paid it off in 5 years and it wasn't worth shit, but I did it. You know what I mean? And it was something to check off the list.
Okay.
And now, like I said, you can't tell me I can't do shit. You know what I mean? I stepped off a plane in fucking Europe. I tattooed, you know, a country I never thought I'd be in. You know, I go to Germany. I'm going to Japan in fucking November to do a fucking seminar with one of my best friends and one of the most amazing fucking artists on the planet. You know what I mean? Like,
amazing.
Bro, the world is the, you know what I mean? Like,
well, one thing I'm learning from you, anything's in your hand if you want to grab.
Bro, if you could do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not to sound like you said, I didn't have this fucking, oh, poor me. You know what I mean? I had some poor me moments, you know what I mean, throughout my life. But I'm here, bro. You know what I mean? And Norm's gone. Trig's gone. Nipsey's gone. My homie Will passed away. My homie Joey passed away. You know what I mean? My homie Goon's gone. Sponto's gone.
Yeah.
My homie Nightmare died. You know what I mean? Like, all of those people passed away in the past, 7 to 10 years? There's other people I could mention, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My grandmother's gone. My biggest regret in life is my grandma never saw me as shit. Not in her eyes, but my grandma never got to see me do anything but the shit that I was doing to get her kicked out of her place. And you know what I mean? I mean, I used to take my grandma's car, you know what I mean, and bring it back and hope she
but she's up there looking at you right now.
And I mean, I hope so, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, that's, you know what I mean? That's why it's not just about tattooing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just, you know, I don't want to be known as a tattoo artist, you know what I mean? Like, that's cool, but that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now with you. I've turned down these podcasts for years, but I'm here talking because when Nipsey passed away, I can go in the car right now and listen to some shit you ain't never heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it makes me feel like maybe he's still here a little bit. You know what I mean? With Norm being gone, I could watch some of these videos. You know what I mean? For me, I have 4 daughters now, bro. You know what I mean?
Jesus, 4 daughters?
4 of them. Wow. You know what I mean? My oldest just graduated from college with her LVN. She's, you know, and my youngest is 2. I brought my 26-year-old, I've had her around Nip. I've had her around, I brought her to Chris Brown's house. You know what I mean? My daughter's dancing in videos, Chris Brown holding the phone, My 26-year-old has seen me cool. I've been cool guy dad. You know what I mean? My 2-year-old, I don't know. We'll see. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, she will. With this attitude, she will.
But I'm saying, like, even when she's 20, what am I going to look like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I've agreed to do this type of stuff. Losing Nip, losing Triggs, losing Norm, losing all my other homies. I don't have no footage of them.
Yeah.
I can't hear their voices. You know what I mean? So losing Nip, even though he wasn't my best friend, we had a relationship, but even though he wasn't the closest person to me, losing him really opened my eyes to this type of shit. Like, bro, we had little disposable cameras.
Bro.
You know what I mean?
That's funny. I was talking about that. Yeah.
You know?
We didn't have nothing.
We licked fucking right on the photos and all that shit.
You either had a Polaroid or a disposable. You still got to wait like 5 days for the film to come back.
But even then, you pull a camera out on the block, everybody look at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have maybe 10 videos of me, you know, on stage with Nip, like, and I'm just like, fucking, yo, this is, you know, everybody else had their phone out, so I was like, all right, fuck it, I don't care if I look stupid, but that's all in my head.
Yeah.
I want to take more pictures. I want to tell my friends I love them. You know what I mean? We don't do that shit.
Yeah.
Bro, I got off the plane coming back from Germany. I just talked to this artist, this dude Maxime from Russia, but he lives in Germany. I'm going through customs, and then he sends me a video. Bro, I miss you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, man, I can't. It was so good spending this weekend. Bro, I never told another fucking grown man I miss you. I want to. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You know, on some grown man shit. You know what I mean? I want to tell my friends I love them. I want to tell them I miss them.
I'm making a point to tell most of my homies that as often as I can.
100%. You know what I mean? And you know, if I could give back a little bit, if I could help a little bit, and like I said, start doing something to offset all the fucking negativity. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I can definitely relate, and that's exactly why we do this. This podcast right here, brick by brick, that's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what to say. This has probably been one of the best conversations of my life. I definitely feel like I got to know you a little better, and I think everyone out there is going to really benefit and enjoy from this conversation. So let me ask you one parting question, because this will probably be a good way to wind it down.
Yeah.
If you could talk to younger Huero, back then, Huero in them all white leather Cortez, Huero running around burning, what would you tell him?
Fuck, man. Honestly, I don't know if I would do it any different. You know what I mean? I mean, I've thought about that. I've had that question, you know what I mean, asked to me. I mean, if I really had that opportunity, I would, you know, smack myself in the face and be like, wake the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, what are you, stupid? Don't you see what you're doing? Don't you see who you're hurting? Don't you see, you know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I mean, without this, there is no that. You know what I mean?
That's my answer.
And
exactly my answer.
You know what I mean? And I think that to each his own. Everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own struggle. Money doesn't necessarily make you happy. You know what I mean?
Money does not make you happy.
So I don't want to say like, oh, you know what I mean? There's some kid in Nebraska that's living a fucking heavy, horrible existence just as much as any ghetto in America, any fucking, there's some kid in Mexico that's got it worse than any person. You know what I mean? There's some kid in every, you know, so none of that matters. But your experiences, I'm just lucky enough to have survived all of it. You know what I mean? I'm lucky enough to still be here. I mean, I don't know. I think the biggest thing that I would say is appreciate every fucking day. You know what I mean? I would tell myself, like, stop rolling them dice. You know what I mean?
Amen.
Like, all my friends are gone. Not all of them. I mean, I still cherish the ones that are here, but my influences, these people, you know what I mean? I still get to sit. I still get to go see Bear. I still get to sit with my homie Junior. I still have a new group. I still get to go see JP. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Triggs is gone. Norm's gone. You know what I mean? All these other people are gone. So I don't know. I think I would just say, hey, wake up earlier. You know what I mean? That's it. Like,
that's amazing.
You know?
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. This was probably one of the best conversations ever, and I learned so much about my friend Huero. I want you guys all to come check it out. Click, subscribe, comment, and drop in the comments who you'd like to see me interview next. Brick by Brick, SullenTV.